Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you may be watching this transmission. 'Tis I, Mike Martins, your housing discussion guru. Oh, yeah. Burning the midnight oil for some, and for some, waking up early afternoon. I want to thank everyone for tuning in and joining the broadcast. If you'd like to jump into our live chat, don't be shy. We are live every Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. So Vadi Drupad says, "Hi Mike, good evening." Hello Mike. Everyone's rolling into the comment section. And doing really good here in Merritt, British Columbia. We had a nice mild day. I think it was about 14 Celsius today, 13. It was just gorgeous. I had my front door open in my shop. It was a good feeling. It was a good feeling. It was a good breeze. It was a good mood. You know, a good feeling in the air. You know what I'm saying? So, lots to cover. I've been receiving a lot of messages from a lot of people from Australia, from New Zealand, United Kingdom, some people from America, but mainly a lot of the cities where a lot of people are really over leveraged. Like people that bought a bungalow for $1.4 million. I'm talking about those people, you know what I'm saying? People that are severely over leveraged and they just bought it the wrong time. There's just nothing more to say about it, right? And a lot of people now can't secure financing and to refinance. And now with interest rates going up and in the next 2 to 3 years, a lot of these mortgages are coming up for renewal. So we got Gene Merimoz. Just this morning, I watched the latest video from Martin North and John about the gold scandal. Yeah, you know what it is, guys? Gold's been very heavily manipulated, and it's very severely undervalued. I'll do a gold stacking show, and I'll do a silver stacking show for you guys. We could talk about gold and some of the silver bars I've collected and stuff, and gold and stuff, discussing what's happening in those precious metal markets. I've been talking for the longest time. I don't know if you remember my videos. I'll give you an example. Okay, you see this nice thick stack of cards here? Okay. And you see this card? Well, this card right here represents how much physical silver we have on Earth. This card here, these cards here represent how much paper certificates we have. So this is how much silver we have. This is how much paper certificates we have. If everybody goes to cash in their cash in for their silver certificates, they go, I want to cash my silver certificates so I can get my silver. There's not enough silver to cover the spread of certificates that are out there. So that's a big problem. So Gordon Smith says, game on. Kevin Thompson, another great week in real estate in Toronto. Then Sly Ryland says, got an accepted offer on my townhouse in Kelowna. Going to rent for well. Good move, Sly. That's what you want to do. It's playing chess. I don't know what to do, guys. I said oil is severely undervalued. Oil took a massive hit, guys, in the last couple of days with West Texas crude just dumping so much oil in the market. So I've lost a lot of my oil stock. It doesn't bug me because it is what it is, right? And it is what it is. So it's kind of hard to come to terms, but that's okay. I mean, I still got the stock at a decent price, so yeah. Let's move on, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel here. This one here is big. This one was put up not too long ago, and this video that I put up about Canada housing crisis, rest in peace, it ties into this article. This article here. Canadian real estate developers are ramping up mainland Chinese market. So what they're trying to do, is they're trying hard to, sorry, I'm getting, I don't know why I'm getting all these, I get like 40, 50 of them in like a matter of like 2 minutes. So just wait for this to clear up. So I already made a video of this. Canadian real estate developers ramping up mainland Chinese marketing. So what's happening is the same thing that happened in Seattle. Once, okay, this is enough garbage here. I got like 2, 3, 4, 5 Walmart $100 gift cards to cash in here, according to these crap pop-ups. Oh. Okay, guys. Let me see where I'm at here. Sorry, but I had to wet my whistle here. Yay! My printer thing's opening too. Everything's opening. Okay, let's get back to where I was. The big red jug. That's a lot of good, nice lemon water, man. So what's been happening is to prop up the Canadian housing market, they're bringing in a lot of rich Chinese investors right here. Canadian developers are looking to spend more to attract mainland Chinese capital. So this is a big deal because this happened in Seattle. So what happened in Seattle is very interesting, and I covered this years ago, where after Canada implemented the foreign buyers tax, a bunch of real estate agents went down to Seattle, and a bunch of them went to Toronto, and just started getting their customers from China to buy up 10, 20 units at a time, right? That's why these cities are all sitting empty. There's no one living in these places. They're all empty. Because the average Canadian can't buy. Do you remember that big housing seminar they had in China, in Hong Kong, where they were making fun of Canadians, saying even the Canadians can't afford to buy them. Why don't you buy them? Buy them. Canadians can't even afford to buy their own property. And that's true. But they were making fun of us in China. I read the article, we went through it together, and how they were making fun of us, saying that basically Canadians themselves can't own. You go ahead and buy it. Buy up their own country. And that's what they were getting across there. So everyone's coming into the comment section. Dale Cunningham's in the rest in peace. So it's getting so desperate that real estate developers are ramping up. You don't want to sell this property to your local Canadian? Oh no, well they have no money. Let's go to China and sell it to them. That's what's happening. And then it ties into this. Canada wants more Chinese workers, students, and tourists, immigration minister says, CBC article. So this is fake news. So it doesn't matter. They can't shut my channel down if I'm reading fake news. I'm just connecting the dots. So it starts right here. Prop up the market. Let's advertise to more Chinese. Canada wants more Chinese, and the number is here, according to the minister, 500,000 per year, and they're looking at 800,000 in 2019. And then let's move on to here. The Douglas Tart article, Aboriginals and whites leaving Metro Vancouver at record numbers because nobody could afford to live in these cities. So once you start connecting the dots with these articles, you start getting the full story. I don't know if you're not allowed to do that on social media, but I'm just kind of talking about how these articles coincide with each other and how they all connect the dots. So if you start right here, thought number 1, Canadian real estate developers are ramping up mainland Chinese market, so Canadians can't afford to buy. Local developers aren't going to waste their time with us because we have no money. And Canada wants 500,000 more Chinese per year. Right here. I'm not making this up. And Aboriginals and whites leaving Metro Vancouver. So you connect the dots and you connect the articles together and you start getting one big story. And that's what's happening. And that's what's happening. KL3 in the comments saying Canada wants more Chinese, but they want the rich and highly educated. Oh yeah, severely rich people. And I guess the locals, are going to have to figure out what to do on their own. And the sad part is when you build up the infrastructure, you pay taxes all your life. You go fight wars. You go and this goes for Sydney, Melbourne, Auckland, London, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle. This goes for every one of those major cities. Those cities are causing so much trouble that people are exiting these cities and moving east into the mainlands. Everybody from London's moving into middle England. Everyone from Vancouver's moving into the middle of the province where I moved from Vancouver to here. People from King County are moving east to Salt Lake City, Utah. People from California and Portland, Oregon are moving to Nevada and Arizona. People from New York, Massachusetts are moving south to Florida. So you're seeing this, it's pushing people around. I would have continued to live in Vancouver, but I'm not paying $2 million for a bungalow. I'm sorry, I'm just not paying $2 million for a bungalow. I'm sorry. So, the poor white boy, when people were making fun of me, oh, poor white boy, can't afford a house in Vancouver. No, it's not that I can't afford a house in Vancouver. I'm not going to spend that much money on a bungalow. And don't make me pull out what you could buy in Central Texas for $150,000. Don't make me pull that up right now. Okay. Again, Toronto's housing crisis. People are all coming up with ideas. Why are these homes costing over $1 million when they're realistically worth $380,000? What is happening? Are the jobs really paying that well? Right here, in 2016, so we're getting the numbers in from last year. About 712,000 households in Toronto were spending more than 30% of their income on housing. That's in Toronto. That's not the GTA. That's just the city of Toronto. That's a lot going towards when you net X amount. They're talking 30% of your income gross. Today, 96,828 people are at the wait list for subsidized housing administered by the city. That's almost 100,000 people. Instead of creating 96,828 middle-class private sector, not public, private sector jobs, this would probably be fixed. But that's not happening. And Toronto's house stock has failed to keep up with its increasing population. That's bull. That's bull. There's 111,000 empty units in Toronto. 111,000. Hey, looky here. 96,000 people need a place affordable. The Toronto's housing stock has failed to keep up with its increasing population. That's bull. Everyone's leaving the GTA. Everybody's leaving Toronto and moving to Cambridge, Waterloo, Concord, Ontario, Richmond Hill. They're all leaving. Everyone's moving out to the GTA. That's why when you try to get on the 401 or the 400 series highways, you can't move. I did videos on there while I was there in Toronto. You can't move. Why? Because everyone's living outside the city and everyone commutes into the city. Back in the day, those highways were always nice and clear. Good timing, get to Oakville in 20 minutes, get to Cambridge in 40 minutes. Now, poof, you can't even get nowhere in 20 minutes. You can't even get out of your driveway in 20 minutes because everyone's left the city. And Toronto's housing stock, okay, where housing you completed this period. Politician, experts, and activists. Okay, let's go to the point here. Number one, use surplus public land for housing. There we go. A supply and demand issue, which is not the problem. And we've already debunked that here on this channel many times. This is nothing new. Dedicated funds from 2 taxes for housing. Where would more money come from for the affordable housing? Yeah, tax people more. That's right. Instead of lowering taxes on small businesses so companies could hire more people sorry, let me clean my screen here. I got a smudge here and it's bothering me. In the private sector, instead of hiring more, See, if the government lowered taxes on small private family businesses, this way allowing people to work in the private sector, that would be phenomenal. Vancouver appears poised to reverse duplex decision housing crisis. So what's going on, guys? Other cities are going to follow trend. I know Salt Lake City, Utah is following this trend. And I know Reno, Nevada is doing this too, where they're going to allow people to start converting homes into multiple apartment stuff. Like here, I'll just play the video so you guys see what I'm talking about.
Even as the province looks to spend taxpayer money to build subsidized units, the city of Vancouver is poised to move in the other direction. As John Woodward reports, a majority of city councillors seem to be backing a motion to do away with duplexes in much of the city.
I'm sure the housing sector...
Vancouver's Chelsea Gardens complex is where the BC government announced some $500 million for affordable housing.
People and businesses have been struggling under the weight of this housing crisis.
But it's across the street from these subsidized townhouses where multi-million-dollar homes will be a new battleground. The previous city council voted to allow duplexes here, but a newly elected NPA councillor is pushing to make these duplexes illegal again, turning back the decision in a huge swath of the city.
My first cause for concern was that this was rushed through in the last ever meeting where Vision was in control.
The move would mean no new market housing on tens of thousands of properties in the middle of a housing crisis. Not what Vancouver's independent mayor Kennedy Stewart campaigned on.
We're in the middle of a housing crisis. What can we do to help?
And not what will accommodate Vancouver's growth.
One owner per 3,000 square foot lot's just not going to cut it as Vancouver goes forward.
But the NPA has 5 votes and it looks sure to pass, as Green councillor Adrienne Carr is signaling her support.
The motion is not about saying no to duplexes. The motion is about saying no to the process.
There hasn't exactly been a stampede to build more duplexes. We checked with City Hall, and across the whole city, there are only 3 applications. They'll be grandfathered in. The motion to be debated and voted on Wednesday before it goes to a public hearing. John Woodward, CTV News, Vancouver.
It's a ploy. It's a ploy to push out the poor. So they don't want to build more duplexes. Sorry, I got confused with another city. They don't want to build more duplexes because those million-dollar mansions, those weren't million-dollar mansions you saw there. Multi-million-dollar mansions, those houses right now, if I show you in just outside of Phoenix, you could buy that same house there for $240 grand. So that's what I hate. Oh, these are mansions here. This is a mansion?
Even as the province...
Let's see what a mansion...
elected NPA councillor is duplexes here.
I want to see what a mansion looks like. That's a multi-million-dollar mansion. That's a typical 2-story family home. My house that I paid $260,000 for is probably 3 times bigger than that and has more land. My backyard's bigger than that whole house. And my parking in front, I could fit 9 cars perfectly. So that's not a multi-million-dollar mansion. Yeah. So what they're doing is it's a ploy to push out the poor. They're looking to push out the poor, and that's exactly what they want to do. So they want to make Vancouver a playground for the rich. They want to make Sydney a playground for the rich. They want to make Auckland a playground for the rich. They want to make London a playground. Go ahead and do it and see what happens. See what happens to the infrastructure. Who's going to maintain? Who's going to pick up the garbage? When you go to the doctor, who's going to be there? We're losing our doctors. Okay? I spoke to another doctor yesterday on my day off. I had a doctor, a foot surgeon or a foot doctor. Okay? He's moving to Arizona. Spoke to him yesterday. He's like, Mike, I watch your show. I'm a foot doctor in Vancouver. I have a practice here for 14 years. I have no money. I have no money. And that's what's happening. That is what is happening. So people are tired of this Mickey Mousing their lives. They're Mickey Mousing your life. You're rigging your life. You're rigging it to just get by. What? To say you live in Vancouver? What, to say I live in Vancouver? So what? Let's move on. This is from Huffington Post. Families squat in abandoned homes as the housing crisis grips Detroit. It's from today's date. So again, housing crisis in Detroit. So let's hit up some comments. eBankQ is in the comments, telling Kevin Thompson to move to another country with this $2 million profits. Emma Murdy from says, I have an interesting story about a house in Hamilton. Yeah, add me to Skype, Mike Martin's 1980. And message me on Skype so I know. And then, it's impossible to live a balanced life these days. No, it is possible. I'm living a very severely balanced life. I'm doing what I want to do. I'm living the dream. And I'm not overextending. Why? Because I didn't buy a house I couldn't afford to pay off. Or buy out. Or just buy out. I could have used the money that I bought this house with and actually put a big down payment, and I'd still be owing $1 million in Vancouver. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. You're better off not having the $1 million and buying a house for $260 like I did. And not having $1 million. Because you're ahead. Because if you have to pay the $1 million and you put down the $260, you're screwed. But no one's looking at the bigger picture, you know what I'm saying? That's my favorite line. Okay, let me see who's on Skype tonight. Everybody have fun tonight. Alrighty. I want to see who's on Skype tonight. I hope Steve the plumber's okay. I've been trying to call him back. I hope he didn't get arrested or anything. Oh, I'm opening my PayPal and I'm okay, here's Skype. PayPal and Skype look the same. Alright, let's see who's on Skype tonight. Logging into Skype. Okay, there's Brooke Marshall there. There's Brooke. Who else is here? Oh, so many people in the comments here. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. Lots of people. The thing with Skype is when someone messages you, your message doesn't go to their message doesn't go to the top, like new message. It actually is in the whole list of people. You have to go through all 290 people to find somebody to speak to. So Emma is saying the house was auctioned off. You could add me on Skype and call in. It's fine. Was auctioned off last night. Kevin Thompson's going nuts. Lobster Boy is in the comment section. For the price of Vancouver piece of crap, I could live in the Mediterranean with half the income tax and lots of sun. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what's happening. We're getting pushed out of our own cities. And it's almost like we're not pushing back. And we just, you know what? We're done. You know, I got my eye on the door. Everyone's saying, oh, Mike, I wish it was like you, where you could go to the Azores, right? And Azores are a bunch of islands off the coast, way off the coast, in the middle of the ocean, in the Atlantic. And our main export is pineapple and tobacco, right? I wish you get Kevin Thompson to call in. I wonder where Steve the plumber is. I hope he's okay. I hope he's not in jail. Okay, Detroit. The highest, the heat is going on in van. Was the last straw. Pregnant and living in her vehicle with her 4 kids. In the fall of 2013, Rebecca Fritz began a desperate strategic search to find a place to crash before winter hit. Why is this is yesterday's... Actually, this is today's article. Why are they talking about 2013? Oh, I guess what they're saying, it's happening again, where people are squatting. Here we go. Traditionally ignored, the city had often tolerated by neighbors. Squatters occupy more than 3,000 homes in Detroit, according to the Detroit Land Bank Authority, a public agency that manages the city's abandoned properties. Squatters frequently go without running water and heat in neighborhoods that have seen little of the investment imitating the city's downtown core. See that house right there? 4-year-old put decorations. Okay, you see this house right there, guys? That house in Vancouver? $2 million. All right. Okay, here's Emma. All right, let's find out what's going on here. Let's see if she picks up and tells us what the hell's going on there. Hello, hey Emma, how's it going?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Okay, so what happened to the house in Hamilton? You said you got a story for us.
Okay, so I've had a realtor for a little while now. Obviously the market's not in the best shape to buy, so we're kind of just browsing and looking at all the emails and seeing what's on the MLS. We got an email this week, and it showed a house. It was a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, and it was on the mountain in Hamilton, and it was listed for $199.99.
Wow,
which was just crazy to see.
Was it a foreclosure property, or was it just?
No, that's the weird thing. So I called my realtor to ask him about it, and he said the property had been bought in August for $260, and the guy was trying to flip it, and you could see from the photos that it was kind of half done on the inside, but it looked like it had good bones and everything. It was just kind of outdated, and he had just put it up. He put it up for $199 to attract attention, and he auctioned it off last night.
How much did you get for it?
So I'll let you know once I find out. I don't know what it ended up going for, but it's so strange.
So how long you been looking for? How long you been on the market looking for a place?
Since January.
Okay, so it's been like about 10 months now.
Yeah.
Okay, and are you noticing? Are you in Hamilton, or are you outside of Hamilton?
We're in Burlington right now.
Okay.
But my fiance's from Hamilton.
Okay. Are you noticing an increase in gridlock everywhere ever since everyone left Toronto?
In Hamilton?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really hoping they don't build the stupid LRT thing. I don't know if you've heard much about that, but...
LRT is a train, a public train, I guess, that will take you from where to where?
So they want it, I think they just want it for basically McMaster students, and I'm not sure why, because the transit system is already pretty great in Hamilton, and the downtown terminal is pretty awesome, and it has all the screens up, and it shows you what time the buses are coming and everything, so I don't know why they even want it, but it's going to cost so much money, obviously, and it's going to take years to build, and then all the main streets are going to go down a lane.
Wait, whoa, that's going to make it what? Why?
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people are against it. All the shop windows have signs in their windows saying that they're against the LRT, like on James Street, because it's going to go down a lane.
But that's horrible, because they tried doing that in Vancouver, but they did it with bike lanes, and they cut one lane out, and you can't even drive in Vancouver anymore.
Oh, God. They did that. I live kind of close to New Street in Burlington. I don't know if you know where that is, but they cut it. It was 4 lanes, and they cut it down to 2 because they put in bike lanes.
Oh,
just
my
so
God.
that they could say it was a bicycle-friendly community. But that street runs parallel to a bike path. So nobody used the lanes, so they had to change it back to 4 lanes again.
Wow. And you know what happens is when you use the government bureaucracy to put those lanes in, if we made those bike lanes, let's say in Brazil, it probably cost us $200, a case of beer, and 3 gallons of paint, right? But because we did those bike lanes in Canada, you're looking at about $5-6 million just to get started.
Wow.
Yeah, that's just how it is. That's just where our tax money goes, to red tape and bureaucracy.
Oh, that makes me so angry.
It does. It really, yeah, it does. It does. So are you seeing a shift in pattern in demographics of people leaving the city of Toronto and the GTA to move to more Hamilton, Burlington areas because they can't afford to live in Toronto?
Well, there's a lot of refugees in Hamilton at the moment. I work in education, and I did one of my placements at a school in like downtown Hamilton, and there was a lot of refugees, so I noticed that. A lot of like young white hipster couples
Okay.
in Hamilton.
Like trendies.
Yeah.
Wow.
But other than that, I'm not really sure. I mean, a lot of people are buying condos that are my age.
Yeah, that's
and a lot of people that I work with that are maybe closer to your age are telling me to buy a condo. And I've said no. No,
you're going to pay strata fees, right? Let's say you pay $200 a month, right? That's $2,400 a year in strata fees. That $2,400 a year could get you an air conditioning for, or something. Like you could do something with that $2,400. You know what I'm saying? Because you're still paying property tax. So you're paying property tax on a box in the sky, and you're paying strata fees. You know?
Yeah, and I've heard a lot about how condos don't really increase in value.
Yeah, unless they're in cities like Toronto or Vancouver, where they go to other countries to sell them. Like remember that first article I read where builders are not looking for Canadians anymore. They're looking for Chinese investors to buy properties in Canada now. They don't even want to deal with Canadians.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
It's getting to the point I don't know how we're supposed to survive anymore.
Yep. The doctor I spoke about that moved to Arizona. There was another doctor, that foot doctor moved to Arizona. He had a practice in Vancouver for, 12, 13 years. He just moved this business down to the Arizona, outside Arizona area. Then I had another doctor move to Ocala, Florida. She bought a 4-bedroom with a pool in Ocala for $170,000.
Wow. There's been a lot of conversations just with so many people that I've met about how attractive it is to want to move to the States. Mm-hmm. And basically the only thing keeping anybody in Canada anymore is the healthcare system.
Oh, that's a little shoddy. I don't know. Healthcare is like this. Hey, it's like 50-50. You're not too sure, you know what I'm saying? But if you're a nurse and you move down... Well, first you're a nurse, so you could take care of yourself, right? Second, you move down to Florida, you're going to get a nursing position, and you'll get healthcare covered on your job.
My sister's a nurse. I work in education.
Yeah. So if you go down and work in education, you will get health coverage in your... So let's say you move to South Carolina and you work in a district there in one of the schools, okay? You will have healthcare coverage with the school board. It's benefits. You got benefits with the job. You're a public service. You're a public. Public service worker. So it's offered by the government, right, or the state government, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if you live in Florida, you don't even get taxed if you're a teacher.
What?
You don't pay. It's a work-free state, so a lot of people move to Florida so they don't get taxed as much.
Oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
So is Rhode Island, Providence, Rhode Island. Yeah, and so is Portland, Oregon. A lot of them are work-free states, so you don't have to pay as much tax as you will. You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I didn't know that. I don't know much about the states, to be honest.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You just go. Yeah.
I didn't even know places like that existed.
There's tons of places. Like every state's governed by its own governor, right? And every state has different laws and different taxes and different. Some have the death penalty, some don't. Some are work-free states, some are not. Some are tax-free states. Some of them are tax havens, some are not. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the work.
What would?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm curious if I could ask for your advice about something. So we've been kind of messed around a lot with going back and forth between when we do want to get pre-approved, just to see what it would look like, what kind of house obviously the bank or mortgage broker thinks we could afford, and we would want to be buying for much lower than that if we can. We've been messed around a lot by mortgage brokers, and I'm curious about what your opinion is on mortgage brokers, because I don't know many people that have used them, and they don't seem too keen to take on our business at all.
Yeah. Okay, so you're a teacher, and what does your fiance do? Is he?
He works at a plant for Deningers.
Okay, so he has a real job. Okay, so okay, him and you together, combined income. Okay, so have you tried going to because you see, only in Australia they use mortgage brokers. Have you tried going to a bank?
We haven't yet, because we're trying to avoid the hard credit check for now, because he needs to improve his credit a little bit. But yeah, we've been told by a few people to go with a mortgage broker because they can get you lower rates and things. But every time we talk to them, the
percentages are not worth it though. You have to pay them 2, 3, 4, 5% of the deal. It's not even worth it. I'd rather pay a little bit a higher percentage and be locked in with a bank and not have to Mickey Mouse around with a broker.
They said that they don't take commission from us.
Oh, they take it from the seller or the bank too. It depends on how it depends how the system works. But I would actually strongly consider going into a bank and sitting down with somebody you know there and taking a application and seeing what it is you have to do through a bank. Because the mortgage broker is going to have to funnel it through a bank in the end. He's going to have to lay a position somewhere with a bank that could hold or that would take your deal.
Yeah.
So
we were told by our realtor that a lot of people, they go into banks and they think that they get a pre-approval.
Yeah.
But then when they actually want to put in an offer on a house, the bank turns around and says, oh, well, that was just an estimate. You're actually only approved for this amount, this lower amount.
What's your price range? Like 400,000, 300,000?
Probably more around 300,000.
Okay, 300,000. You know what? I just say sit back and watch everything drop. If you sit back another 6 to 12 months, you'll start seeing things drop through the floor, and you could pick up a deal for in and around 300,000.
What makes you think that it's going to drop that quickly?
Well, because no one could afford the properties with interest rates going up.
Mhm.
If interest rates keep going up, and they're forecasting interest rates to go up 3 more times next year in Canada, and we have to raise interest rates so we can keep our dollar in check, keep inflation in check, keep our standards in check, keep our commodities and exports attractive. We're going to have to raise interest rates. And
what did you think about that article that was posted in the Facebook group? I think it said the headline was something like rising interest rates is what's going to keep people out of the market, not home prices.
Well, no, it's going to keep people out of the market because it's going to be a lot more money to borrow the money, right? You're going to pay a lot more to service your debt.
Mm-hmm.
But when you pay a lot more to service your debt, that means that price of housing, it has to come down because then no one could afford to, then no one could buy.
Yeah.
Right? If you can't secure the financing, no one's going to buy.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If you can't, like if you're having trouble securing financing, that means you're not going to buy, period. And then once a lot of middle class people that should be buying, like you and your fiance should be buying a place, it shouldn't be a problem. But you are having a problem. Why? Because the housing market's going nuts right now. And it's nowhere near affordable right now. The average house, I mean, you should be able to pick up a nice fixer-upper starter home for in and around $225 to $270. Like a good one. Like a good one. That just needs a little bit of flooring, maybe a new roof over time, maybe a new heater in 2 years. You know what I'm saying?
It is frustrating because I know that we've saved pretty well. I mean, we live with my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And my fiance is Portuguese, so we don't need to buy a house that's already fixed up. He can do that.
Yes, I'm Portuguese too. Does he watch my channel?
Yeah. No, I've told him about you. He's in the housing group because I added him, but
Okay.
he spends most of his free time playing video games.
Yes. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. But okay. Yeah. Thanks. I want to thank you for calling and keep us like on track with what's going on with your progress and what's going on with the with your housing search and keep us posted. You know.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for the chat.
Yep. Just do what I said. Lay back, enjoy, watch, see where pricing is gonna go. Like I said, if interest rates go up, people can't afford to secure financing. They can't secure financing. Housing is gonna have to come down to make it affordable again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was gonna say something and now I've forgotten. Oh, I will keep you updated on how much that house got auctioned for.
Yeah. And if you go to open houses, take your camera with you, make some videos, put them on an anonymous YouTube channel or something if you want, and I could play them here on my side and show people, and you could tell us what we're looking at and what they're asking for. You know?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'll put you on assignment down there. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Bye.
Take care.
Good night. All right. That was Emma from Hamilton, Ontario. It's nice to have all new people on the show. So that's what's happening, people. People with decent jobs, they just can't make it work. And it's not their fault. It's the system. Everyone blames the system, and that's what it is. It's exactly what it is. Look at the downtown Detroit. Oh, it's got music in it. It looks cool, though.
Care that much about.
It's got music in it, guys. Let's lower the music here and just play the background. You see all the houses all empty and boarded up. Yeah. Oh, I miss going to Detroit. I used to go to Detroit all the time. So lots of people here in the comment section, guys. Okay, Matsky, open your eyes. Prices in the GTA are trending down. Kevin Thompson says Emma 300 large, and then I3 Laid says his troll name memes will get rid of Trudeau. Opa Canada says don't know if you heard Kevin, but Windsor, Ontario houses are up big time. Well, everyone's leaving the city, right? Matsky look at Stouffville, Newmarket, Aurora sold. Prices on Zillow. Yeah, we'll look it up in a sec here if I remember. Nice channel, Mike says G4L for Cincinnati North. Matsky selling for underprice. Rainier Mola, Mike Martins. If you cover Montreal today, give me a call. Yeah, I covered Montreal last week about the bidding wars that's happening there. It's really interesting to see what's happening in Montreal right now. And then someone says, open house signs last Sunday. Never seen so many. That's MPC 931672927. And Sean Bowen is forced to build off-grid. Bus making $100K a year in Vancouver. Even houses in industrial sectors of Hamilton are going for 300 large. Okay, so here's the deal, guys. A lot of people have been trending, and I'm going to do this one here for Sean Bowen, because he keeps mentioning this to me all the time about bus conversions. Let's look at some housing bus conversions. So there's a lot of people converting buses into homes, and it's becoming a big business. This looks nice. This looks like, I'm not kidding, like the RMS Titanic. Look at this one, it has a hatch. Wow, that's nice. It's like a little party bus here. Look at that. Beyonce could live in there, man. That looks nice. Look at that bus conversion. So a lot of people are taking these buses, buying them for like $9 grand, and just building them into complete homes. Wow. Oh, this one's got a wood-burning fireplace in it. You can burn wood in this thing to keep it warm. And he built this whole second level piece on the roof. Wow. The only problem with these homes, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just pretty tough to buy fuel. This one's under conversion here. They're insulating it. Oh, they're blocking up the windows, eh? Look at that one. That's amazing, man. Look at that marble sink, marble counter. So Kevin Thompson's in the comments. So Field Marshal saying home buses and freight crate houses are becoming a thing now. Look at this. Oh, this one looks like a restaurant. This looks like a disco one. It's got all the disco. It's got flames on the front. Yep. Oh, look at this double stacker. What? You could totally party it up in there, man. Holy smokes. Mr. E is in the comments. Field Marshal Brooke, do you have any housing stories for us in New Zealand you could share with us what's going on? I would like to know, my friend, if you got anything you want to share with us, Brooke. I am an open book. Let's see who's in the comments here. Here she is. Let's get Brooke on the phone from New Zealand.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. Are you frying something or is it raining?
I was making dinner, but...
Oh. Did you want me to let you go?
No, man. It's all good. It's all in the oven.
Oh.
I'm free.
Oh, it's one of those dinners. Oh, a nice dinner. Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
So how are things in good old New Zealand?
At face value, they may seem okay. I'm not really sure what's going on in the country at the moment. There's a bit of a shift, regarding housing, currently in Wellington, now 9 regions of Wellington are now valued at over $1 million. And the quote-unquote experts say that we're going to have to expect it to rise. So that's interesting. I've been talking to a lot of students at the moment, and the minimum people are paying just for a rent for one room, not even a house, so just to rent a room, is like $345 a week.
345 pesos or $345?
Dollars a week, just for a room. So that will give you access to, so this is a room in a flat, you'll have a shared kitchen and things, your general sort of flatting situation. But that's just for the room. That's not including power, anything.
345 times 52 divided by 12. So they're paying $1,500 a month for a room.
Yep.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out. I'm just trying to do the math in my head. Are you sure you guys don't use Mexican pesos there?
I wish we did.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sense of it, because if you throw power in, okay, and is food free in your country? Is that why?
No.
How much do you spend? How much does a human being there on average spend a week on food? Like $80?
Like one person?
Yeah, $80
for a week.
Yeah.
For a week. Yeah, I could say $80. If you spend wisely, yes, $80 will get you through easily. Family of 4 though, you're looking at like $250.
Okay, but we're just focusing on the one room person, right? So we got $375 a week plus $80. Okay.
Power averages at about $20 a week.
Okay.
Roughly. Cool.
Okay. And then what else?
Travel. So to get the bus in Wellington now, it's more or less $10 a day if you're going there and back.
What is it? Is it like a 5-star champagne lift your feet up on the bus?
No, they just redid. So they've revamped the intercity, as it were, and they've put in all the electric buses. But there's been so many issues with them. We've got double-decker buses now. The bus drivers have been on strike like 4 times, I think, in the last 2 months.
Well, because they can't afford to buy food.
Well, and they can't afford to live in the city to drive the buses.
That's becoming a huge problem. You know what they did in Sydney to fix that problem?
What's that?
They actually built a condo tower that was off limits to foreign investors, and it was built by the government to house government workers like garbage men, bus drivers, nurses, doctors, plastic surgeons, chiropractors, everybody that works at everyone that's a public service worker, basically could live in that condominium.
Okay, and so then the hope of owning your own home, aside from living in that condo,
it's not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen.
No.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
That's crazy.
So we're at $485 with transport, food, electrical. Okay, so we're at $485. So times 52 divided by 12. $2,101.66 per month to live in a room.
Yeah.
In a room.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's not even including that's without any luxury. So that's without being able to buy yourself a coffee a week. Like this doesn't even cover like you know how sometimes it's nice when you work to go out and maybe buy yourself something nice or go out for a meal with someone. You can't really do that now. Wow. Not even just general leisure.
Something you just told me that just sent some serious shivers up my spine. And there's one phrase you just told me that has scared the crap out of me. Where you say, where you have leisure or you have the luxury of buying a coffee. Oh my God.
I know. Look, Mike, the thing is when I'm 27, okay, and so when I grew up, we used to call it board, you pay board, while you're a working teenager. So I started working when I was 15 and I paid $60 a week to my parents, and things like that. And then it went up to about 80 when I was 20 and I was still working. But then $80 board was nothing because, by that time I was earning about $400 a week. And so $80 board, you'd actually have money to go out and enjoy yourself and kind of still enjoy your youth a little bit. Whereas unfortunately now people who are younger than me, like I've been talking to quite a few 20-year-olds, and they don't have that possibility to do that. They don't have that anymore. The demands are so high for like we just discussed, money and food and things. They literally don't have money to go out, and if they do, it's that's kind of it's very limited. And so now everything goes on rent, basically, more or less. And at the lower end, some of these people are paying like $600 a week for a room. Like that's the higher end.
$600 for a room?
Yeah, for a room. So that's the higher end of it on the higher spectrum. This is in the capital in Wellington. And so they just like, I really feel for them because I mean, like things are always a bit hard, and that's kind of the way life is. But it shouldn't be impossible, you know.
Okay,
like you should.
Let's look
you
up.
Should get some free rain. Yeah.
Well, yeah, let's look up cruise ships because I know a few cruise ships like Cardinal cruise ships.
Yeah.
That charge about $500 a week for a room, and includes room and board. Hold on. $500 a week. I think it's Royal Caribbean. I just saw it advertised. $500 a week. You can stay a whole year if you want.
Yeah.
It might be cheaper to do that. It might be cheaper for a $500 a week room. Here you go. Employee stay. Yeah, you know. Here, this one's $400 a week. This one's $390 a week here. This one's $340 a week, Australian dollars, for a nice view of the ocean here. We're right by the ocean, and there's 4 bunks in it too. So, I mean, you might be better off just eating at the buffet. You might be better off eating at the buffet at the cruise ship, right? And it's cheaper to live on the cruise ship, and maybe even work on the cruise ship. I mean, you might get ahead because the room and board's cheaper.
Yeah.
And you get to see the whole world.
Yeah.
What? Here, there's one here for $700 a week. Wow, that's the Princess Diana room. And it has a deck, and you're on the ship, too. Well, that's nice. Yeah. Wow. So what else is going on down there? I know there's a lot of problems with the housing. Are they starting to put insulation on homes now down there? Or no?
The new criteria being enforced in 2019 is the roof and the floors have to be insulated, but that's it.
Okay.
So now we're having like there's always something sort of new popping up, but so New Zealand government passed a bill recently that waived letting fees on properties so that tenants wouldn't have to pay for them. Letting fees, like a letting fee can be anywhere from $200 to $600, and the government's stepped in and waived that. But now what's happening is because the landlords need the money because the rates are so high, the landlords are now charging the tenants more, or they've created something called a rental tax in which they place upon the tenants. That causes that causes a whole bunch of issues for everyone. That this is you probably know more than me. As soon as the government gets involved in policy and language starts getting changed, things get a bit pear-shaped. So it's very interesting to see what happens. We're having a lot of the immigration talk is going on right now. So our Prime Minister has accepted 250 refugees from Myanmar. I'm sorry, correct me if I'm wrong. Is that how you say it, Myanmar?
Myanmar?
I think so.
Isn't that? Yeah, okay. Where is Myanmar? I think that's in Africa somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, because I'm not too sure where it is.
And also another, I think the place is called Nauru. I don't know its proper pronunciation, but we're taking people from there as well, the ones that the EU wouldn't let in to Europe. So we're taking them. But there's a lot, they're going in on the identity politics, the name and calling and the hate speech. It's all getting disproportionately sort of more amplified, and like most Kiwis can kind of sort of see through it, but at the same time it's sort of starting to poison things. And a lot of people, I kind of made a video about this the other day, a lot of people see things for face value, don't pay attention to it, and just go and clutch their pearls without like reading into the facts. Like a good example of that is how the Democrats won the House recently.
Yes.
And so in New Zealand, like many people don't understand how the US system works. They don't realise the differences between the Senate and the House, and that things like, say, for example, impeaching Trump, they don't realise that the impeachment bill can be written in the House, but it can only be passed in the Senate. But people don't realise that. They just hear that and they go, impeach Trump, impeach 45. I think that's what Maxine Waters was saying, and everyone sort of jumps on that. And
half those people are lost causes. You know that, right?
Yeah.
And the other half don't even know if they're tricking or treating.
Nah.
So I mean, it's just, who cares? Like, I mean, I know you get a kick out of it, and it's really entertaining. You should get some of this on tape or videotape. Some of these people, because especially, I don't know, that lady. You remember that lady that was at the Stefan Molyneux thing, standing outside talking for all New Zealanders that they're not welcome here with their hate speech and their rhetoric. And remember that lady? Yeah. As a New Zealander, I speak for all New Zealanders when I say that we don't like you here. And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, maybe speak for yourself, lady.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I'm really sad. It's really sad. Can I ask a question? Are you paying the garbage? You have to pay garbage every quarter, garbage and water?
Garbage, yes. Water, no.
Okay, so garbage you got to pay every quarter?
Yeah, but that comes out of we have a thing called a utilities tax, so that will come out of, that more or less. We're lucky that we have fresh water. We have fresh springs. There's quite a few fresh water springs under Wellington. That they've been, they want to dredge out the harbour, and so they can export our water, but that's going to result in...
It's going to all go to China.
Yeah. Oh, it already is. I think $4 million... it was about $4 million worth of water got shipped to China the other day from Christchurch.
Yep, and we lost BC. We lost, I think it was just $140 million worth of water was shipped to China this past summer.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's what we need. Wow. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. So, anyways, you know what? Keep us on the pulse. What's happening there in New Zealand? Keep your ear to the ground and what's happening. I'd like to have you on the show regularly, so you could give us so you could plug us on what's going on. And I'm gonna put a link to your channel there in the chat section there, so people could subscribe to your channel. And you've been putting up quite a few videos lately, and I've been liking that. So, guys, Field Marshal, don't forget to check her out on YouTube. She's gonna put a link right now in the description here. I wonder if do I have you as a moderator on my channel? You should.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, just go ahead and leave a link in the comments there.
Yeah.
There she is, Field Marshal. So
they should be able to click on my channel A just from that.
Yeah, they can click on it, but go ahead and leave a link too if you wanna. Yeah. Anyways, well, thanks for giving us some insight on what's happening in New Zealand. Keep us on the pulse. I might have you on Mike in the Night so we could talk about what's happening with the farmers there.
Yeah, man. That sounds good.
Yeah. Okay, have a good night.
All the best. God bless.
Okay, God bless you. Bye.
Yeah.
All right, that was Brooke Marshall from New Zealand, giving us a little insight on what's going on. We need to have we need somebody from Australia on the phone. I wonder if Buddy is available. Anon, are you there, Buddy? I don't know if your Skype's still working or if it's broken, because I know you said your Skype was broken. So we need to know what's going on, because we need Anon to give us a little bit of here he is here. He's in Sydney, Australia. Find out what his living conditions or what's the heck's going on. See if he picks up his Skype. Oh, he's at work. Dude, what are you doing at work? Why, Anon, what are you at work for? Oh, that feels good. Yeah, Anon's a good guy. Can't talk today. No problem, buddy. We'll get you on Saturday. Or Sunday is my day, yeah. Oh, Lost Canuck. All right, let's get somebody in from Barrie, Ontario. So we got someone from Hamilton, Ontario, Barrie, Ontario, New Zealand, and anyone from the UK out there? Or Los Angeles? Someone saying, Mike, you should do a show with Martin North, Australia. Oh, it's 2:30 p.m. Dude, you should be waking up at 2:30 p.m. You're going to be at work. I'm just joking. The Lost Canuck, yeah, go ahead, call me Lost Canuck. I don't know which number you want me to call you from, so you just give me a call here. You got my number. I'm not sure what number you want me to call you at, so... Oh, wow, I sold so many things today on eBay. I've restructured my eBay, and it's actually working out, guys, for me. And I have already 11 items I sold, like good items, too, like pricey items. So I'm feeling a lot of people getting their money together for Christmas to buy gifts for everybody. So, Lost Canuck, call him home. I'm not sure which his home number is, so I'll just call this number here that I have. And he could fill us in what's going on in Barrie, Ontario here. Yeah, everything's super overpriced there, too. It's disgusting.
Your call has been forwarded to a voicemail.
He's not picking up, guys. I think he's got another number. I don't have that number. So, add me on Skype, Mario, if you got Skype on your phone. Go ahead and add me on Skype, too. Skype works really good. So, Belinda Mercer's in the comments. Don't rent. Save. Buy. Walking Journey, his channel's right here, guys. Don't forget to check him out. The Walking Journey, 2-time world champion. I actually watched this stream 2 days ago. He's got a lot going on in his life and very busy, actually, with his new job and stuff. And he's got a lot of dislikes. So, guys, send him a lot of love. I just like this video. He's got 13 dislikes on this video, and he means well, and he likes to give advice. And his advice is actually pretty good. Don't forget to check out The Walking Journey. 2-time world champion. Living in Texas. Left California. Was sick and tired of California. And moved to Texas. Was sick and tired of living in a liberal cesspool. Is what he calls it. I like this one. This one's good. Woo! I like this one. Oh my god. And then he talks here. Watch what he says. Who the hell's gonna buy this?
Made in China, cheap. Dude, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen, and I wanted to show you guys. No, seriously, like, this is people at Walmart kind of crap. Why would anybody spend their money on this crap? Let me show you guys something that it could do. See, you could change it to Spanish. It's the most stupidest thing I've ever seen.
So, you could change it to Spanish. Woo! Anyways, yeah, that's classic, man. Anthony, can you mail me one of those, buddy? I'll put it in my store. I swear to God I will. And I'll have it singing in Spanish, dude, like full time. Anyways, guys, don't forget to check out The Walking Journey, man. He's the best. This guy's the best. Okay, we got somebody. We got Mario. Is that you, buddy?
How are you, man?
Okay, I'm going to save this number because I already have your number saved on speed dial, but I guess that's your cell, right?
Yeah, it's my cell. It's my cell. Yeah, this is my home, so at least I can talk to you before the battery dies.
Oh, okay, no biggie, no biggie. So what's going on in your neck of the woods?
Not much, man, not much. But what I think what's happening, Mike, is they're going to start doing something to make these houses move. So I don't know if you've seen that article. I think it was up on the Toronto housing crash on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
On the Toronto Star was trying to put out that they're trying to, I guess, push the sales of homes now.
Yeah.
I guess they're trying to say that things are, not as bad as we thought it'd be, and people can start buying again. And I think a lot of people are delusional, thinking that the spring, or you should say February, March, things are going to start picking up again.
Well, you know what? We got a little bit of a blueprint. We got a small blueprint we're working with, and we're working with Australia and New Zealand because it's spring right there, and nothing's happening, and prices are dropping. Because spring season in Sydney and Melbourne and all those other other areas is buying season, and no one's buying.
Yeah. See, now I was reading something else. I was going to put out a video yesterday, but I didn't have time because I'm so busy at work. I'm going to do one this weekend. In 1985 to 89. I was only like a teenager back then, but that's when we had the boom and the crash right around 89, 90. So if you take the facts of that and the numbers, of 113% the houses went up, okay? From 85 to 86, 87, it went up 113%. So it actually went up more than it did now. But interest rates were still back then 11 to 10%.
So that 11 to 10%, that means our money was actually valuable.
Yes, correct. So people have to understand. So when it went to a crash, the banks weren't crashed, the government wasn't crashed. It was the people that were over debt, and people had those, not like the States, and I know, when you lose something, you actually have to pay it, or they'll sue you, or you have to go bankrupt. Mm-hmm. So the bank will collect their money when they sell the house, but the remainder is up to you, or they're going to keep coming after you unless you go bankrupt or you pay it off. Now, a lot of people didn't go bankrupt back then. They lost their house, yes, but they end up paying. If you take the statistics back then, 20%, not even 10% went bankrupt, Mike. Only so many paid it back slowly. Mm-hmm. So then the banks didn't lose their money. They gained. And when I say banks don't lose their money, I'm talking like the Canadian, the system itself didn't collapse. Mm. The pensions weren't collapsing, nothing.
Well, because the housing system wasn't tied to our pensions and to our economy and to our dollar and our GDP.
That's right, correct. You got it right on the nose. That's what I was just about to say. Now you have pension funds, you have investment people, you got people that threw money over here and over there, and now everybody's sitting on the sidelines waiting to see what's going to happen next. Mm-hmm. So here's a question I want to ask you. Do you think the government's going to impose on a rescue thing like they did in the States, where it's going to be more to the media and everybody knowing that the government's going to dump a bunch of money? It's not for us to help us, so help me God, they'll never help us. Mm-hmm. But it's going to help the big developers and so they throw money in there, so they're not actually using their money. They're using taxpayers' money to keep it afloat, to see if they can boost up the economy again. And just like Amazon, they were supposed to eventually, the rumor is they were going to open up here in Canada.
In Toronto.
Yeah, in Toronto somewhere, and all of a sudden they're down south. And I said it from before. What company would come up here when they can go down south and pay 20 to 18%, and he's given them an incentive to open up down south? Mm-hmm. Why would you want to move up here and pay 60% of tax?
Yeah, it's like robbing Peter to pay Paul. There's no point. But can I tell you something, Mario?
Yeah.
Somebody asked me today, Mike, how come, do you think a company too as big as Amazon will ever go bankrupt? And you know what I said to them? Amazon will go bankrupt if they had to pay taxes like every other citizen does.
That's right. Correct.
A lot of them don't pay tax. A lot of these companies, these big corporations, they're only doing well because they're not paying tax, and they're getting government handouts too.
Well, of course they are. Of course they are. But it's just like I said in your last video when I was on your show, Chrysler got the same thing when they wrote off $1.6 billion, our taxpayers' money in Canada, because they're scared that they're going to ship out too. You know, they're going to say, you know what, we're going to move down there, because anybody that moves down there, that's what they're looking at. Yeah. They have something against Trudeau and the Canadian workers that they can say, oh yeah, you want to do that? No problem. I'm going to move down south and you can battle with me in court while I'm down south making 30% more on my profits in my pocket.
With a stronger currency.
Exactly.
So here's the deal, Mario. I spoke to a doctor yesterday on my day off, a foot doctor that's been in Vancouver and has his practice for, I don't know, 12, 13 years. And he's moving to Arizona, just outside Arizona. I think it was Arizona, he told me, area. And he ended up visiting there several times. He watches my show. He visited there 3-4 times. He found a location to open a practice. He found a place. He bought a location for in a strip mall for under $70,000. Okay, and then he bought a house. He had a little bit of money saved in Canada, so he ended up buying a house free and clear for $279,000. It's a 4-bedroom ranch. Okay. Just about 30 minutes outside of Arizona. And all he needs to do is see 2 patients a week, and he could sign up to get government subsidy where the government, like the people will send him as a specialist through the government, and the government pays through, I guess, the benefits of work and stuff. I don't know how that works. So he told me he could get those contracts too. Yeah, and that's it. He's like, Mike, I'm done. He's like, you were right. You've been right all these years. I've been watching you. I've been living in Vancouver, and you know what? I am sick and tired of not getting anywhere in life. And he makes anywhere in and around $140,000 to $250,000 a year.
Yeah, see, and it's not enough.
No,
it's not enough.
I don't know if you read my comments on the video that was posted the other day, and this guy said he was going to add me on Skype, and he's from Australia. And he makes, he's in Sydney, and he makes about almost $200,000 a year, and he can't make it.
Is that the one from, he's talking about, he's mentioned about how countries have evaporated the Christian faith? Is that the one?
I'm not too sure, because I know he messaged me, and he added me on Skype. I'm not sure. So guys, I'm going to make an announcement now. Whenever you add me on Skype, message me what we were talking about so I could have you on the phone so I know why you're... Because I have Mike in the Night, and then people add me on Mike in the Night for talking about cryptocurrency. And then I don't know what we were talking about, so I forget. So when you message me on Skype, or you have added me on Skype already, go on your Skype, message me today or tomorrow, say, hi Mike, my name is this, and I want to talk about housing, and I'm in New Zealand. Hi Mike, I'm in the UK, I want to talk about vaccines, or on Mike in the Night, or I want to talk about cryptocurrency. You know what I'm saying, Mario? Because I need to organize who is who and where they're calling from, right?
Yeah. No, you did well. You're doing well, and that's good. That's good to hear. How's the wife, by the way?
Oh, the wife's doing good. She's getting past the morning sickness stage, so she's feeling better now.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, and hopefully we're gonna work towards having the baby in March. Everything's gonna be good, and that's it. It's our last baby. We're done, and that's it. We're gonna move on, raising the family, travel, do things, and hopefully life will get back to mainstream again once the next baby's born.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to hear, man.
Yeah,
that's good to hear.
What's up with your friend Kevin Thompson?
I have no idea, man. I don't know if that guy's a real estate or just a ball breaker on the system. I don't even know.
Yeah, because he was just telling you, he was just saying to get this renter off the phone.
Tell him God bless him, Mike. Yeah. I don't get mad at people. I love criticism. They just build me up.
Yeah, I know. It builds you up stronger, recharges your batteries. So, Mario, I want your opinion on this. It's kind of important.
Go ahead.
What do we do to keep our professionals in the country? What incentives? What are we going to do? Like, when we go see a doctor, do we have to learn another language to be able to speak to our doctors? Because they're all leaving in mass. Can you explain to me how are we going to keep our doctors? I couldn't care less about our police, but our doctors. What are we going to do?
Yeah, I think what the government should do is give them an incentive. So if you are a doctor, which we all need because it keeps us all healthy and watches over us, not to say that they're always right, but at the same time, you always feel better. Even though they don't give you the right answer, Mike, sometimes when you go see your doctor, it's just someone to talk to and you just feel better.
Mm-hmm.
Just for that moment, right? So if I was, it's the same as I said from the last time a year ago I told you. Why is a pensioner has to pay income tax on a pension money that he's already paid as he was working. It's the same scenario. So if you're a doctor, you got school debt, you're coming out of school debt, instead of saying, okay, you're going to pay 60% of your tax, because, no, I think a doctor alone should be in a different category, especially what's going on now.
Mm-hmm.
If we're in a dilemma, which we are in the past 10 years, they're moving down south, they get incentives, they're making 3 times the money, their dollar can stretch 10 times more than it does here. Why don't they give an incentive where they cut down the tax on them?
Mm-hmm.
Or they say to them, okay, so at the end of the year, you made $200,000, let's take 20% of that. And I'm pretty sure we'd have more qualified doctors because, Mike, to be honest with you, there's not that many good doctors out there. And the ones that are good, they're full.
Yeah.
People don't leave their doctors, right? I found a really good one in Barrie, thank God, a family doctor. And I was going actually to Maple. When I met my wife, we were like teenagers. So we were going to the same doctor that she went to, but he ended up retiring.
Mm-hmm.
So he got a replacement, but this guy was a joke, man. A joke.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't even look at you. He'd just come in there with a laptop and he'd just be keying in. He wouldn't even see you in your face. It wasn't a doctor. I don't know how to explain it. So finally I found one here, and thank God he took me, and I'm trying to bring my whole family there. But it's the same thing like you said. If I'm as you or me, as a carpenter, if I can make 3 times the money to go down south and I can buy a house for $150,000, $200,000, and I have $400,000, I'd rather move down there. If I had everything set up.
Yeah.
The problem is your kids, right? Your kids are a certain age or whatever. It's a little tougher.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like Jesus Murphys, maybe we're going to go to work in California when they put all those fires out. I don't know.
Well, you know what? California right now is a state you don't want to move to. Neither is Portland, Oregon, and neither is Washington State. If you're going to move, I would move to Texas. I would move to Florida. I would move to Mississippi. I would move to South Carolina. I would move to, there's a couple of places I'd move to, but I would not move to. I moved to Georgia, but I wouldn't. Yeah.
That's what me and my wife want to go check out, just to go look at it. She always loves to see Atlanta, Georgia. She wants.
Atlanta's great. I'll tell you how to get there. Just take the highway, the 401, to Windsor.
Yeah.
Jump when you get across the border into Michigan. You see the sign for I-75 left.
Yeah.
Just take I-75, that one highway. It takes you
How long does it take to get down there from Toronto?
Okay, from Toronto to Windsor is 4 hours, and from Windsor to Atlanta is about 10 hours.
Yeah, that's right. That 15 hours, I said.
Yeah.
Probably take us here.
Yeah, I would recommend to do to go to Atlanta. Atlanta's nice. You'll like it a lot. Make sure if you're gonna stay there, stay on Peachtree Street, Atlanta. Here, I'll bring it up here so you guys can see what it looks like. Every time I'd go down to Atlanta, I'd always stay on Peachtree Street, Atlanta. That's all one word. Okay, images. Right here.
Wow.
There's images there. That's where I'd stay.
Right on, buddy.
Peachtree Street, right by the Fox Theater. Just go there, hang out, check stuff out, talk to random people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I do. Yeah, just get to Michigan. You don't even need a navigator. You're going to cross the border. It's going to say I-75 to the left. Go left. If you're right on the highway, once you make a left, and just take that one highway, Mario, it takes you right down to Peachtree Street exit.
Right on, man.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. Another thing I wanted to say, Mike, is also that we all know the rates are going up. We've always heard it. I know that, I don't know if Steve told you, he was talking about banks, what was happening with the banks now. And they're not, the TD's starting to do it. They're not taking your gross anymore.
Well, they
mortgage.
Can't take your gross. I don't know why they've taken the gross income. It's not your money.
Right. Yeah, he said they just passed it that they're only going to take your net now.
Well, they have to. You're not taking your gross home. You're not expensing your gross. You're not expensing it with car payments.
Wow.
So, yeah. Yeah. Anyways, let me see if I can get him on the horn here. I don't know where he's at. I've called him several times this week. He's not picking up his phone. I hope he's not in jail.
I hope so too, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you called him on Saturday. He looked like he was sleeping. Then I went to bed. I couldn't even stay up and watch you Saturday. I worked all day, and I was just too tired to listen.
Mike in the Night.
Yeah, I want to listen to it anyway, because you guys talk about everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, find a topic to talk on. Maybe we could talk about food pricing going up, because last week we talked about retail store closures.
No, you know what I want to talk about?
Mm.
When I call Saturday, I want to talk about the Q. Have you watched the Q videos?
Q?
Q. The one about the down south, what's going on.
Q. Like the letter Q?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll talk about it on Saturday. We'll just talk about it.
Yeah, you'll be amazed. You just look up Q on Conspiracy Q on the States, and you'll see all the videos that are out there. They're giving you hidden messages, hidden coded messages, what's going on. It's very interesting. You'll be interested, trust me.
But guys like us, like especially like you, Mario, you don't need hidden messages to know what's going on. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know. No. We're not talking about that. We're just talking about. It's just like you're watching like a Jason Bourne movie, but this guy puts it so deep that it's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Wow.
Like all the stuff that's going on.
Wow.
All the stuff that's going on.
Intense.
It is, and it's kind of amazing. It gives you, I could say, it gives you a little bit of hope too, right?
Yeah.
But then you have good people that are trying to get this thing all straightened out. That's what it is.
Okay.
At the end of the day, and if you find out who's behind it, the people that are behind it, that'll amaze you. We'll talk about it Saturday.
Okay,
we'll
bud.
Talk about it Saturday. Okay, buddy.
Get some sleep. Get some sleep.
Take care, buddy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ciao. So that's Mario from Barrie, Ontario. Works in the construction industry, and he knows what's going on. Okay. eBankU. So he's in. Check him out. He's one of our spies on the ground in Japan. eBankU is in the comments right now. And he's one of our Mike Martin's channel spies in Tokyo, Japan, watching and observing for Mike in the Night if he's got a story. Let's go back to where we were. I see that Walking Journey is in the comment section. Don't forget to check his channel out. Yeah, we got Mr. E. Evan on the phone, our truth analyst on our phone. Our truth analyst is in Hong Kong. All right, guys, I want to bring this one up. Global news at 6. Housing crisis leaves many homeless living in Vancouver in vehicles. You thought it was only in New Zealand and California where people were living in vehicles. But they're living in Vancouver, and it rains. In the winter, it rains 90% of the time. Let's see what this guy here has to say.
Why is the government legalizing marijuana?
Oh, this is like some lady talking about marijuana to this guy. Okay, hold on. This is just an ad. Let's see if this ad kind of Okay, here goes.
SkyTrain tracks is a growing community.
Many people living here because it's all they can afford. For 2 years, Kevin Bone has called a small RV on Glen Drive home. The situation, he says, is better than many of the alternatives.
I don't mind doing it full time, honestly, because I don't have no obligation. I get visa in front of my landlord. But my RV is perfect for me and my dog.
But Bone and so many others are living in fear they will be ticketed or towed. City bylaw officers regularly patrol the hotspots looking for obvious safety issues. Business owners in the area say the city needs to be doing more to address this issue.
They need washrooms. I think they need showers. I think they need garbage cans. But certainly ignoring the fact and leaving them on a street like this where there's no place for them. The city has to deal with it.
There are no solid stats about the number of people living in vans or sleeping in cars. They're often lumped in with the city's homeless count. It's believed about 2,500 people are without proper accommodation in Vancouver. Newly elected Mayor Kennedy Stewart believes one of the keys to solving this issue will be scaling up temporary modular homes.
And I've talked to people that live in that housing that are starting to pull their lives back together, getting into the workforce, for example. Their health is improving, and so the more we can do there.
Many people in RVs don't consider themselves homeless. Other cities along the West Coast have adopted safe parking programs, partnering with churches to give people access to security and facilities. It is something some of Vancouver's new city councillors are taking a look at. Aaron MacArthur, Global News.
So you have it there, people. What's going on? Housing crisis leaves many homeless in vehicles in Metro Vancouver. That's what's happening, people. And a lot of these people do work too. Like, it's not that they, it's not like these people don't want a house. It's just, they just can't afford one. They just can't afford to live. Okay, where were we? So we read this Toronto housing issue. Yeah, duplex decision. So they're not going to be building these homes. So, because, guys, right here, that's a multi-million-dollar mansion. Yeah, right. My backyard's bigger than that house. Okay, that one's done. Mother and disabled daughter say Vancouver housing crisis has them living in a van. So now you're going to start seeing this even more and more. It's going to get out of control. It started in California. It's moved its way up to Portland, Oregon. And then it hit Washington. And then now it's hit Vancouver, just across the border. And a lot of people are living in vans and mobile homes. All right, let's see what's going on here. Vancouver's getting hit hard, people. Affordability levels are way out of reach. I think GoDaddy's got to give me some money for running this ad here. Come on, hurry up. There we go.
These are tough times for Crystal and her disabled daughter, Lily.
You're going to be okay, Lily. Mommy's going to get us something.
The two moved back to Vancouver from Alberta in the hopes of accessing better services for Lily. Now, more than 2 months later, they remain homeless, living inside their van.
What's the hardest part of being in this situation?
Watching her suffer. Knowing she's having seizures. Knowing she once had a 25-minute grand mal seizure and it almost didn't make it. And it's scary. It's terrifying.
Crystal and her 25-year-old daughter, victims of Vancouver's pricey rents.
Basically, we can't find a home that's affordable. The prices have skyrocketed. And we've been having to live in it. We eat our meals in there, we sleep in there. It's like a refrigerator at night.
At Spanish Banks, where the two are parked for the day, many others are also living out of their vehicles.
We were just talking about that, like my husband and I, because I drive past here and I notice people living in their vans, and it's kind of sad.
Do you think it's gotten a lot worse?
Well, I think over this year it has, I think, yeah.
Since arriving, Crystal and Lily have spent a few nights at the Y, giving them a chance to clean up, but they have no prospects for a home.
I didn't think over 2 months it would take that long to find a place to live. I'd hoped just a week or two,
With winter weather coming, their need for a home now becoming urgent.
So cold.
Catherine Urquhart, Global News.
Yeah. It hurts. That really hurts to see that. That really hurts. And it's not like they're looking for free housing. She said, we just want something more affordable to, Okay, good. Steve's in the comments section. I've been trying to get a hold of him. He's a lot tougher to get than the president. I hope he's okay. Steve, call in when you can, buddy. I need to talk to you. I need to know what the heck is going on. Yep, that's very hard to watch. eBankU. I already did a plug for his channel. Where to go? I already closed it, but I did a plug for his channel. So, guys, let's play. Remember when you were kids? You used to play Connect the Dots. Remember that? So you used to start from number 1 and go up to 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. Well, here's a Connect the Dots. Canadian real estate developers are ramping up mainland Chinese marketing, so Canadian developers aren't going to waste their time finding Canadian clients to buy their homes and condos. They're depending on Chinese, rich Chinese investors. CBC article, dot number 2. Canada wants more Chinese workers, students, tourists, say immigration minister. And the article goes on to say they are looking for... Well, there's our leader and savior right there. 500,000 per year. And they're ramping it up to 800,000 per year. And dot number 3, Douglas Todd. Aboriginals and whites leaving Metro Vancouver. So, and that's what's happening right now, guys. Aboriginals and whites leaving Metro Vancouver. So this is the combination. When you start connecting the dots, Vancouver appears poised on reverse duplex decision. So they don't want duplexes being built, affordable housing.
Of this housing crisis.
But it's across the street from these subsidized townhouses where multi-million-dollar homes.
Multi-million-dollar home. Multi-million-dollar home. My backyard's bigger than that whole house. The house I bought for $260, this house I'm in right now, I have 7 bathrooms in my house. I have more bathrooms than that house has rooms. So that's what's going on. Yeah, Las Connect says, may God bless them. Yep, the whole province become gentrified. Charlie Brown's in the comment section. Yo, Mike, what's up? So Steve is going to call in 10 minutes. So that's how Connect the Dots work. Housing crisis in Central, Otago and Queenstown. Lake forces young families out of region. Again, New Zealand. Again. Bunch of garbage. What's happening there? Young families that actually contribute and pay bills. It's the young families that actually pay the taxes and actually contribute to the infrastructure. It's the young families. The rich people don't pay taxes. Charlie Brown says, Mike Martins, I saw posted on Twitter, UBS warns of a deep recession and 30% house falls in worst case scenario. Yeah, man, I feel you, bud. Rainier Mullah says rich people pay more taxes, Mike. Well, they pay more taxes. Okay, this is the deal. They pay more taxes, but off of what they actually make, it's a fraction of what poor people pay off what they pay. So let's say you're making $70,000 a year and you're paying $30,000 a year in taxes, and you make $100 million a year, but you only pay $3 million in taxes. You see what I'm talking about here? You're paying more as a poor person in taxes than you are as a rich person. Someone's messaging me on Skype. Okay, like, do I know my password or what? No, lots of people messaging me here. Oh. Yeah, cryptocurrency is going down. We'll probably have our cryptocurrency expert this Saturday on Mike in the Night to do a 5-minute plug. give us an insight on what the heck is going on? Someone says the rich don't pay taxes with sweet labor. That's the main difference. That's true. That's very true. But Pedrito Navaja saying deep recession, house prices could fall more than 30%. USB doomsday scenario. Yep. People coming in from Australia here. Good old days. Will Amazon HQ2 plans move Seattle's housing crisis to the East Coast? So here's the problem. If Amazon paid taxes and didn't get government handouts and subsidies and incentives, it wouldn't exist. Amazon would cease to exist. Okay, we got Anthony on the ground here, two-time world champ. Yo, what's up, Anthony?
Hi, Mike. Yeah, Mike, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. How are you?
Oh, great. Great here in Michigan, just north of Detroit. Yeah, just wondering what you think of the oil market. I know you were bullish on oil. I'm more bullish on the dollar, so we disagreed on that. What do you think going forward?
I still believe that oil is severely undervalued. Oil took a massive hit today with West Texas crude putting a ton of oil on the market. I took like a 20% hit on my oil this week.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be very frank with you. I think oil is severely undervalued. I think oil, like in the stocks, some of the stocks I've owned that I purchased for $2 or at $1.50 now, and these companies own tons of land, machinery, trucks, employees. They basically hold the country together. I don't think these companies could go anywhere. I think they have no. You know what I'm saying?
Canadian?
Yeah.
Okay.
Big companies, and their shares were at $70 a share, and I picked them up for $2.50. So I mean, $70 to $2.50. There's got to be some sort of something going wrong with it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I'll look into those. Maybe, but I might wait for the Canadian housing crisis to really hit before I look in Canadian assets. That's just my thing.
Yeah. But you know what? When oil went down the last 2 days, I just bought more.
Right.
I'm gonna buy it at a bargain deal, right?
Right, and then I tune into Danielle Park there. She's up there in Barrie. She always gives really interesting interviews. The way she talks about the whole market as a whole is that as far as shorting, I think there's a couple years where shorts can be done as this downturn. Because I don't think there'll be a fast rebound. Do you see how it's just starting to hit the U.S.?
You know what it is? The U.S. did the right move by raising interest rates ahead of the game against all other countries.
Well, I agree with that, but it could be at the expense of our multinationals that need the revenue coming from Canada, Brazil, Argentina, like I said, China. It creates bullish for the dollar, and it could be useful for Canadians to know that if the dollar rallies, you might want to save in that as opposed to the loonie. If you're, waiting on the sidelines for real estate to correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beneficial to the U.S., yes, that our dollar strengthens in a crisis, but not to our companies needing to get revenue elsewhere.
Or you could just bring the companies back into America.
Ooh, they're already here. And, when you think of the base of Ford, it doesn't help Ford to have, trade war talk with China or GM, the falling auto sales in China. No one here would be rejoicing at that. Mm-hmm. That's not the way. Post-2008, we all, as countries, got together and had like a globalist plan to cut rates, and I think we're handed the wreckage now. And you focus on the Canadian and Australian part, but then you talk about Seattle too. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just to your buddy the Lost Canuck, I'm kind of confused about why would people leave Canada for the U.S. What's the draw here?
The problem is, a bungalow, like a 2-bedroom bungalow in Vancouver or in parts of Toronto, it's like $2 million.
Yeah.
So it's just not worth it, especially if you're a professional doctor and you have your credentials and you have a practice and you could just move it stateside. You're better off because a lot of states are cheaper to live in. You might make less money, but you might make more because you're taxed less.
Okay, and you wouldn't want to just wait out the collapse, like for these professionals, because I know doctors in Australia had the same complaints to my parents. Oh, I can't even afford a house here. You know, I make this salary.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't you just wait? I mean, to still, because I mean, Canada's a great place. I mean, the people. Where can you find friendlier, decent people than in Quebec or Ontario?
Well,
serious question.
Well, everywhere you can find friendly people. I mean, when I was in I was like. Where was I? I was in Alabama. I was stranded somewhere. I met so many nice people. I was in Atlanta when somebody's car broke down in the gas station. I was helping them fix it. I met so many nice people. You know, like it's just there's nice people out there. There's lots of love out there. It's just there is. Believe me, there's a lot of love out there. It's just we like to wrap up all the negative energy and all the negative everything that's happening in 30 minutes on the news. You know.
Yeah.
So it makes it seem a lot worse than what it really isn't, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You know?
So realistically, you don't think real estate's going to correct 70% in GTA?
Oh, it has to. It's good. Maybe 40%.
Okay.
I'm thinking 40 points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then probably against the U.S. dollar greenback even more, 50 points, 60, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for correction because I'm sick and tired of all these people leaving the city and moving to the outskirts of Toronto, to Cambridge, Hamilton, Waterloo, Windsor, and because they can't afford to live in the city they were born and raised in, and it makes me sick to my stomach.
Right. Yeah, and just to relocate, I guess we're not worried about a severe recession in the United States. If you think people should just go to Atlanta, like what's the economy like in Atlanta is the thing. I mean, because if you're a carpenter or whatever, that's what Lost Canucks involved in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just worried about people blindly starting over somewhere new and then encountering similar problems. Although, from the housing bubble standpoint, maybe it's cheaper. There could be problems in the U.S. too, as far as the economy. I don't know. I
don't know. I think the U.S. is putting measures into place to prevent another 2008, and there's too. I'm thinking that's what they're trying to do, and I think they're ahead of the curve, raising rates like 8 months earlier than the rest of the world.
Oh, man. You know, I just think that we're 2 years late or something. Like, they kept them too low for too long, and a lot of BS happened.
Yeah, but that was historically long rates, but the historically low interest rates for the longest time. I know. And it's been too long. It's been too long. It's been way, way, way too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then just back to what happened in the elections. We're starting to admit now that it was not such a great victory for Republicans economically, as far as keeping reforms intact. It's really questionable now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's looking turbulent.
Well, everything's looking turbulent right now. It's very hard to forecast anything right now. It's turbulent, and every market right now is facing vulnerability and volatility. So we don't know. We don't know where things are going to go. We don't know. I don't know. I can't tell you. Even if you had a crystal ball that could tell you, you still wouldn't believe what it told you.
Right. But as far as like shorting the market and stuff, I was putting them all in September 15th. It just looked like the cycle top. And I say this because of the way Caterpillar was in a bear market the whole year, but just ran up in August. It made no sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I put on the shorts, made some money. There's ways to predict this as well, as noting similarities between regions. Just the answer to Ontario trying to renew its competitiveness with a pro-business government and talking about the hydro rates and stuff. My only attitude to that in this crisis is too little, too late. It's over.
Yeah.
Nice ideas, but not gonna fix nothing.
Yeah, but why? It's like I keep saying, why didn't they buy an alarm for the car before it got stolen the first time? Why didn't they put measures into place to fix these problems so we wouldn't have them today?
Oh, just corruption. We all see it, the way that it's more profitable for our politicians and then these banking classes to just, hey, let's create a real estate boom. We don't need proper manufacturing in Ontario anymore. Let's outsource to the U.S., Mexico. Let's not have real jobs and dignity and actually fight for the workers like we used to.
Yeah.
Let's just pull people down and get them into real estate. And it happened in the U.S. too at the same time. And that's why we find us in this global problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just the too little too late thing is true for this whole hemisphere, basically. Like I said, down into Brazil. This clown media is promoting a bubble in Brazil now that should crack. I don't think it's got a few weeks left. This is just BS. The fact that he can suddenly right the country with such little support. Yeah, I'll just wait and see on that. But the effects in the U.S. should be pretty devastating as far as what our auto companies, the money we need to make in China and Brazil, and all the Brazilian states that have their number one trade partner is China. If China has a banking crisis, that affects Brazil deeply in that way. And then, what do you think of the Chinese banking crisis? We've seen a lot of negative news coming out of there. Do you think that would affect the flow of capital to Canada?
Oh, dude! Every country would, if the Chinese currency crashes, or if there's even a slight dip in their markets, the ripple effect affects every country on the planet, because China has reach in every single country in the world.
Yeah, and the other question I had is about Quebec. You were saying that Montreal was becoming more interesting, but isn't it like too little, too late there? Like,
well, the average medium home price is still under 300,000, so they're pushing towards 400 right now. So if people buy at the right time there, it could be good. But a lot of people left the Ontario region, and a lot of people left Eastern Canada and parts of like Winnipeg and stuff to move to Quebec for better, prosperous future and blah blah blah. So Quebec is starting to see huge what do you call those, auctions. Now houses start at 250, and some of them sell 150,000 over asking.
Moving to Quebec, that's interesting, because usually it's been the opposite. Well,
Yep.
I wonder what the change was.
Yep. The change was the price of housing.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll let you take your other callers. I know you had some other guys, and I hope to see that stockbroker you got there in Sydney, Australia.
Yes, I'm going to talk to him. I talked to him last night, actually. So I'll try and get him on Saturday's show on Mike in the Night to give us an observation of what's happening in the markets and what we should be looking for right now.
I'll tune in. I mean, he brought up Argentina, and we're like 2 weeks away from the G20.
That's right. That's right. I got my finger on the pulse there. Why don't you follow the G20 with a microscope, real close, and give us some insight when it after the talks takes place, and if you pick up any articles here and there, maybe why don't you gather some information, and you could be on the show on that Saturday of the G20 week, and we could discuss what's happening.
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, we could do that. So this way, at least you could be super informed, and then maybe we could ask you questions in the comment section on what's happening and why it's happening, and is it a good strategic move for this country to do this, and what are they going to do about Venezuela? What are they doing with the sanctions on Iran? What's Donald Trump saying? Things like that.
Yeah, I'll touch on those, but I mean, we can only know so much. You know what I mean?
Oh, young guy like you know everything. Come on.
Oh yeah, but I mean, as far as like no one can predict much, but I got my feelings about what's ahead for South America. And then the other thing is, I hear so much from Canadians and stuff about heading south of the border, going to Costa Rica and stuff. We could look into that too, and how Latin America is also suffering a downturn. So
yeah, for sure,
the grass is not always greener.
Of course, but the sun's always shines brighter in the equator, closer to the equator.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Anthony. Have a good one, buddy.
You too.
Okay, bye. Okay, that was Anthony from downtown Detroit, Michigan, calling into the show. He's going to be on Mike in the Night. We're going to be following the G20 non-conspiracy. We're just going to look at what's going on, because I don't want to get my channel shut down for asking a question that might be too volatile. All right, Amazon, pay your taxes. Like every other citizen on the planet has to. Wow, that girl's beautiful. What is this? How do I close this? Close this here. Okay, the market. It won't let me read this article here. The market will not fix the Twin Cities. Affordable housing. Again, back to Seattle. The private market has been a big part of the solution. Federal Reserve banking executives Ron Feldman and Mark Wright argue that the building of more market-rate housing will create more affordable housing through simply supply and demand. No, it's not! We've covered this zillion times! The amount of empty cities, and the cities like Seattle, Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco, Vancouver, Sydney, Melbourne, Auckland, all these Welland, London, Manchester, they're all turning into empty shells Paris, they had to implement a tax, 75% or 60% of vacant home tax. Yeah. So let's move on. Another thing they think they could fix by supply and demand. There's already a housing crisis in DC area. Will Amazon make it worse? Again, District of Columbia, the other side of the United States, east of me. Not the one south of me, but the Washington District of Columbia, east. Oof. So now they're, meanwhile, Amazon's current hometown of Seattle and the tech company created what reporter called tsunami of growth, doubling the housing prices in 6 years and worsening homelessness in the process. So can we expect the similar effect to play out in the Washington region? Experts say, but it's possible, but hardly guaranteed. Yes, it will. It will. Washington's not that big, and it will overwhelm the area, and it will bring prices up in Washington already that are already overpriced in the District of Columbia. Again, more homeless campers on the rise. Again, homeless campers everywhere. People living in vehicles. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong. I'm not looking down on anybody. I'm not making fun of anybody. This is becoming a big problem, people. Okay? Now, we're not putting our finger on the pulse, or we're not asking the right questions. Again, more people living in housing and in vans. Daryl, who only wanted to share his first name, said he was forced out of his basement suite of 10 years, had to choose between living in a tent city or his 1990s Ford Windstar. Stephanie.
Mike, how are you doing this evening?
Good. This is Stephanie from Florida calling in. How are things?
Oh, it's still summer down here, you know. I got up to 92 degrees today, Fahrenheit.
That's fantastic. That's like 31. Yeah. Hey, Steph, I got a question for you since we're on topic here. Do you see a lot of people living in RVs in Florida, like living on the sides of the street like in California?
No.
No, yeah, because you can still buy a house for under $200,000, right? So.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they have, it's a very, it's a little more transient here. Like right now, there's been a huge influx, like I had told you the last time, of people moving, the snowbirds coming in.
Canadians.
I tried to go get a little small P.O. box today, and I went to 5 post offices, and all of them said no mas, no here, So they said try back in March. I'm like, oh no. Yeah. So all the snowbirds have made their way here, obviously, and so, but no, I mean, there's a lot of motorhome RV parks here. And mobile home, and a lot of housing here, obviously, partially investor owned, but then also snowbird owned, where they come here for the season. They rent it out for one part of the year, and then the other half they come here and live. So, gas prices have dropped. I don't know if you saw my message earlier. I wanted to tell you they have dropped more than 65 cents a gallon from a month ago. We're down to $2.27 a gallon now here.
Wow, that's like 68 cents a liter in Canada.
Yes, and my friend in Texas, the one that had the voter issues that I told you about last time, she said in Texas, where she's at, it's down to $1.79 a gallon.
Oh wow, that's like 50 cents Canadian.
Yes, so it's plummeting. Well, the sales tax here for gas tax for Florida is a little bit more than what it is in Texas. Obviously, it's more like $1 a gallon in California, but I mean, to get premium gas you're looking at around $2.99 for 93 octane, and for the low grade, you know, the 87 to 89 is around was again $2.27, and for diesel's a little more. It's around $2.99 a gallon, right at $3 a gallon.
You don't need that
diesel.
high. You don't need that high octane fuel, only unless you're racing your car, or you're just trying to burn a little bit of excess oil on your valves and stuff. But you don't need the high. You know, where you're driving a bit harder just to clean up a little bit of the exhaust. But you don't need high octane. Just use the regular fuel.
Yeah, I do, but like every other tank, if I usually fill up when I'm just before a half a tank, I fill up, and so every other tank or so, I might add a little bit of premium in there, just to kind of help it burn. You know, just I have a new car, so I'm trying to baby it a little more than normal. But the main reason why I called in, I wanted to tell you, if you haven't heard or not, they feel obviously here in Florida that elections are supposed to go even a week to 2 weeks beyond the rest of the nation, apparently. You know, I guess because it's Florida, but they're still doing recounts right now of the Governor Scott.
Yeah, I know they've been. It's so sad when someone can't admit defeat, because if it's the Republicans that lost, it would be over shut and done, and no one could do nothing about it. But because it's the Democrats, they're going to go ahead and bring this out, draw it out as long as possible.
Right. Well, this guy has been in office for over 30 years, and Governor Scott went from having an 80,000 vote plus in his favor down now to 15,000. Mm-hmm. They said, I just heard on the news earlier, they were reporting, a local reporter said they mysteriously found a lot of mail-in votes that were never counted in a rental car at a rental car place. Mysteriously, if you get my drift.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, and you know, here in Florida, you have to be registered before you can go in and vote. You can't just walk in and say, oh, by the way, I just moved here. Here's my address. Here's my information. I want to vote. Well, they don't let you do that here in Florida. You have to be registered prior to the election.
Okay, makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Whereas I think in California, you could walk in and say, here, I live here. This is my new ID. Here's my information. And go ahead and you're allowed to vote.
Oh, that's why everyone votes liberal there.
Pretty much.
Ah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
It's just, yeah, it's a different set of laws and rules there. Where Florida, they're, you know, they want to know who you are, but they still find, I guess supposedly this woman that was supposed to have reported the amount of votes that came in has been running Palm Beach County since Bush Jr. and Gore went at it.
Oh God, yeah, there was a lot of questionable things happening in that time. You know what? Saturday night, are you going to be available for Mike in the Night? I know it's going to be late where you are. You think you'll be available for Mike in the Night? Because I want to have you on the show, and we could do an update on what's happening in Florida. Maybe get you down to that rental car and see if you could break in and see what's inside there.
Yeah, no worries. You know, but I just wanted to call you in and update you on that, and update you on the gas prices.
Yeah, that's good, because I want to have you on Mike in the Night, because I want to talk about what's happening there, like, in depth, like, for longer, and I want to talk about what's happening with the price of gas, too. But I also want to talk about what's happening with the rent evictions down in there in Florida, where people are getting evicted for renovations, and then they try to rent it out for higher prices to other people that have more money. So a
disabled Army veteran was being evicted by his landlord because he said he wanted, like you just said, he wanted to come in and renovate it and rent it out for more money.
Yeah, so that's a problem down there in Florida too. So yeah, it's something we need to talk about. So we got to talk about that soon. So yeah, keep us updated on what's happening down in Florida, and then we'll have you on a Saturday night show, Mike in the Night, and we'll talk about that in more depth so we can get to the bottom of what's going on.
Well, let's hope it's done and over with by tomorrow. Supposedly what I heard, the last of it, was that they have until 11 o'clock tomorrow, or noontime tomorrow, at the very latest, to have the recount. They're trying to do an extension on that, but they've already had several. And it's like all these votes just keep appearing, and they all seem to be going for the other party, other person, not Governor Scott.
Oh yes, yes, of course, yes. But if it was the Democrats that won, and the Republicans were bringing this up, you're racist, yeah.
There would be riots in the street, and there would be protests. And they've already been a number of protesters that down there that have been saying Governor Scott won it fair and share. But that county down there, it's like the mob. It's like Chicago down there in South Florida. I mean, you live down there.
Oh, yeah,
It's pretty shady when it comes to politics.
Yeah.
It's very shady, actually, when it comes to politics. Because you've had a lot of people from the Northeast relocate down there, you see.
Yeah, a lot of New Yorkers, lots of New Yorkers, lots of people from Manhattan, lots of people from Staten Island, Coney Island, all those areas relocated down to Florida.
Right, but then what a lot of people don't realize is people that have come over from Cuba vote way of Republican because obviously they escaped communism.
Yeah.
Why do they want to vote it back in? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. It's like, we just left a communist country. We're going to go and vote in a communist party.
Right. It just makes no sense whatsoever. So, but, they're usually the Cuban American people now, or the people that come from Cuba. I have a number of friends down in South Florida that are Cuban. Mm-hmm. They are up in arms what's going on down there right now. Yep. It's just, they're beyond disbelief, but they said, you know what, this doesn't surprise them. They knew there was going to be some mysterious votes appear out of nowhere, out of thin air, like a Houdini.
Yeah,
like I think you did on one of your shows.
Okay. Well, anyways, thank you so much for the call. I really appreciate it. Hit me up on Mike in the Night, and maybe we could look at some astrological signs and see if we could see anything in the stars and what's going to happen in the next economic wave.
Well, briefly, it's intense right now planetarily. You have Mercury going retrograde on the 17th. That means you need to back up your computer, your iPhone. If you have a refrigerator that needs maintenance, if your car needs to be serviced or have an oil change, anything that you've overlooked that you haven't taken care of, the chickens are going to come home to roost in the next month until Mercury goes forward. And Jupiter is in the shadow of the sun right now, which is basically, he's invisible. Jupiter is the planet that gives, great money and wealth and all the goodies, like the Santa Claus. Well, right now the sun has come in and wrecking the party, saying, you know what, I'm the king, not you.
Okay.
All right, it's my stage, so basically hide Santa Claus, saying, you're not, he can't do anything. It's just kind of, that's how they best describe it. But no, it's going to be this way for another month. And you have Venus still in its stationary position. It's going to take another month or so until almost the first of the year before, she's moved totally forward. So right now is not a good time to invest. It's not a good time to buy anything, not a good time to start anything new unless you've been working on something for a long time. That's the best advice I can give anyone right now. But if you're thinking about making any big money, you're going to lose. It's not within this next month. I'd say pretty much almost till the end of the year is a bad time to invest. It's big losses. Big losses.
Okay.
Big losses.
Okay, Stephanie, thanks for the insight, and hopefully we'll hear from you on Saturday night.
Got it.
Keep us up to date with Florida, okay? The votes.
It's a 3-ring circus right now. That's all I can tell you.
Okay, keep us up to date.
It's a 3-ring circus. The circus is in town and decided not to leave.
Okay, well, have yourself a good night, a good morning there, and we'll keep in touch, okay?
Same to you.
Okay.
Same to you, Mike.
Good night.
Good night. Bye.
So it is very late in Florida right now. It's almost midnight there, and she's our channel's astronomist, star reader, and be surprised at what some of these stargazers could decipher. Very astrological charts. But this is 3-ring circus. So Mike in the night, we're going to have her on to find out if she could find that rental car for us with the mysterious votes that were inside. Maybe she could go in and take some pictures or something and send it back to the show here. Okay, where's Steve the plumber? Hurry up, man.
Of just how bad Vancouver's housing market is. An increasing number of people are living in RVs and vans parked all over the city. As CTV's Ahmad Agahi reports, for many, this may be the last step before sleeping on the streets.
They come in all shapes, models, and sizes. Vehicles acting as makeshift housing options for those on the brink of homelessness.
I had to rent a container to try to save my belongings. I had to move into my little Windstar.
Forced out of his basement suite of 10 years, this man ended up here, alongside dozens of trailers, campers, and vans, all with people living inside.
These people are people who, some of them go to work and are trying very hard to just be able to sustain themselves and their lives. I know that our staff have a lot of compassion for them.
Current city policy doesn't include ticketing someone for just living in their vehicle. In fact, you may only get ticketed if you've parked illegally.
Ticketing homeless campers is verging on cruel.
Newly elected City Councillor Pete Fry's idea, a safe lot for campers to park. He's seen it done before in other West Coast cities.
We're giving them access to services, we're giving them access to water, we're keeping them safe and secure.
I'm a mechanic, I can do it all myself.
Daryl's plan is to save up enough money to move out of Vancouver entirely and head east to Ontario.
You can get houses down there where cheaper than you can up here. For $700, you can get a nice 2-bedroom house on its own property.
But having just lost his job with the collapse of Greyhound, he doesn't know how long that could take. Ahmad Agahi, CTV News, Vancouver.
Yeah, Greyhound shut down, laid off a bunch of people, and look what's happening. People could... So they're asking this guy here for an extra $400 a month for rent. Interest rates are going up. A lot of people invested in these properties. And it's getting out of control. Steve, where are you? Hurry up, man. So, guys, do not take any information from Kevin Thompson in the comment section, guys. Could your backyard help ease the affordable housing crisis? Models from Cascadia and beyond deploy backyard cottages subsidizing housing. Who the hell is this?
Who the hell is this?
Yo, I've been trying to reach you. A lot tougher to get than the president.
Yeah, I know. It's been a rough go, Mike. Rough go. Very busy.
Hey, before you kick off your story, remember when you were young? Grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. Do you remember a game we used to play in grade school called Connect the Dots?
Yes.
Okay, well, I got some Connect the Dots for you. Okay, ready? Dot number 1. Canadian real estate developers are ramping up mainland Chinese markets from better dwelling. So they're finding more and more people to buy in China, from China, to buy in Canada because they lost faith in the Canadian consumer to afford to buy property in their own country.
Well, it's actually quite funny that they're doing that. I mean, let them go
ahead and spend the money and go ahead and advertise and by all means. I'm pretty sure the cat's out of the bag, and everybody knows that the average Canadian can't afford to give them the return on their investment, so they're not buying. They're fools if they buy.
Okay, dot number two. Ready? We're going to connect the dots, okay? Canada wants more Chinese workers, students, and tourists, says immigration minister. So this is an article from the CBC. Canada wants 500,000 Chinese per year, wealthy Chinese, and they're looking this year for 2019, 850,000. Dot number 3. Vancouver Sun. Aboriginals and whites are leaving Metro Vancouver, and there's tens of thousands leaving every year that could afford to live in the city they were born and raised in. So you see when you start playing connect the dots how it works? Now,
they know what's happening, Mike.
Dot number 4. Vancouver appears poised to reserve duplex decision, so they're not going to make duplexes anymore, and low-income duplexes, because it's going to make the multi-million-dollar bungalows look really bad.
I'm inclined to agree.
So, and that's what they're doing. So they're pushing out the poor. Do you have the? Are you? Can you see your screen there?
Businesses have been struggling under the weight of this housing crisis.
But it's across the street from these subsidized townhouses where multi-million-dollar homes.
That right there is a multi-million-dollar home, Steve.
Jesus Christ.
You know, my backyard's bigger than that whole house.
That's insane.
Yeah, multi-million-dollar. That's a multi, and they're complaining about being across the street
from these
from that.
Subsidized townhouses where multi-million-dollar homes.
That's a multi-million-dollar home, Steve. Okay, it's your turn, buddy. Go ahead. What's going on, Steve?
What's going on, Mike? How you been, first and foremost?
I'm fine, dude. I've been trying to contact you all week. You've been probably busy, super busy, I guess. But I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. I'm getting ready for Christmas. I'm getting everything ready, putting everything together at the shop. And, just having a good time. I cut my hours back at the shop, so I'm spending more time with family. And I've restructured my eBay so I could sell items that could fit through a mail slot and still make a very good marginal profit. And, just taking it one day at a time and restructuring life as we go forward.
Fantastic. That's good for you. Family's important. It's not always about work.
But yeah, work means work. Work is just, I don't know. It's a one-syllable word.
You better believe it. Yeah, I apologize about the other night not being able to call back in the show for Mike in the night. I was in the basement trying to put the little guy down.
Oh, okay. No, but I called you like 2 days ago or yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah, I called you like yesterday, last night. I called you around 9 o'clock my time, so it would have been midnight there.
Okay, I was probably passed out, Mike.
Okay, no problem. Okay, what is happening? What is it that you have to tell us? What is it that's going on?
Well, I've had some very interesting conversations from Saturday till, I guess, today. I've spoken to many, many, many people, from people at the bank, the minions or the peons that try to sell you all kinds of stuff, to actual economists as of today. And everybody is pretty much following suit. The banks are preparing for the overnight interest rate to basically go up to 3% by the end of 2019. In actual fact, many bankers, including economists, whether they want to openly admit it or not, they're actually pricing in a rate hike in December. Some are saying December, some are saying January. I think it'll be December, especially after the article that I read today on CNN, Bloomberg, with respect to how people and mortgage holders and Canadians are,
yeah. What do you think? You actually think our GDP is based off of exporting vehicles? You think our GDP is based off of actual fabricating and softwood lumber and fabricating metals and exporting beer and actually having a real economy? Come on.
Well, at this point, all signs point that there are some extremely dark days ahead, and I kind of sort of really truly believe that, and I still do. And for the record, Mike, I'm not hoping and praying for a crash, because that would be absolutely catastrophic to the economy. So if anybody ever says that Steve the Plumber is openly hoping for a crash within the real estate market, that's not what I'm hoping for. I'm actually hoping for a decent-sized correction, whether it's a healthy correction or a brutal correction. That's ultimately what I'm hoping for, because we need it with respect to our economy, and it is going to happen. However, as of late, since last Saturday, the Saturday that just passed, to date, multiple banking or members of the bank, like I said, whether it's the pylon behind the desk or chief economist for that fact, I've spoken to these people, and they've openly admitted that there has been some meetings, and they are in possession of their balance sheets, and they know where things kind of sort of stand in the event that interest rates go up to 2.5% as an overnight lending rate, and furthermore 3%. And every single person that I've spoken to has single-handedly and openly admitted that they are in a position of damage control. Can you hear me, Mike?
Yeah, continue. Damage control, continue.
Yeah, damage control. And furthermore, they are fully expecting to have an 2008 financial crisis if interest rates go to 3%.
And what do you think the banking rates? What do you think the banking rates will be at if the
Absolutely. I can answer that question. I've been told, although 5-year fixed rate is ultimately tied to bond yields, I've been told that the very best rate that I could get right now on a 5-year fixed rate is about 3.75.
So that's hedged. It's hedged with inflation.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
They're kind of looking at 2% above the overnight lending rate, and that's kind of sort of the guideline that the banks will basically be using at a bare minimum.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess what I'm trying to say, to answer your question, the overnight lending rate, and if you want to put it into context with a 5-year fixed rate, because that's what 60% of all mortgages are on a 5-year fixed.
Yeah.
Everyone that I've spoken to is expecting a 5-year fixed rate by the end of 2019 or sooner to be 5%.
Wow. So you're thinking 5%?
I think the 5-year fixed rate will be 5% by the end of 2019 if we see these rate hikes.
So if you're in for $1 million, you got to pay $55,000 a year in interest.
Oh, right.
That's a lot of juice.
Yes, it's a lot, and then just take a look at what that mortgage payment is.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely insane. So to top it all off, with heat locks and the rule change, you are aware of the rule change now from an underwriting standpoint.
What's going on now with the rule change? They change every week something.
Yeah. So the TD Bank, as of November 9th, from an underwriting standpoint, they will be factoring in your heat lock, if applicable, and I'll put this in layman's terms. Mike, if you own $1 million house, for example,
mm-hmm.
and you have $800,000 in equity, and you go to the bank and get a heat lock. And it's, you know what? I'm prudent within my finances. I'm going to be a good little boy. I'm going to have that heat lock in the event that I need it. I'm not going to touch it. I'm living, well within my means, but I just want to make sure I have that, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 heat lock.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Then all of a sudden, your mortgage comes up for renewal.
Mm-hmm.
Or you sell your house, and then you want to port your mortgage over to another house.
Okay.
Or you want to buy a second property, for example, an investment property.
Mm-hmm.
That heat lock could be at zero. In other words, you haven't touched it, it's undisturbed, and it's at your disposal. The TD Bank, and now I believe three additional, if not all other banks have followed suit with respect to this rule change. They are actually going ahead and saying, okay, Mike, in the past, we've never had to factor this in, but now we have to factor it in, and your $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 heat lock, because it's at your disposal, we now have to treat it as though it's maxed out, even though it's not.
Yes. They always do that. You know why? Because that's your lending capacity. So they look at your lending capacity and seeing what you're available at a capacity with all your credit cards, lines of credit, HELOCs, whatever you want to call them, the capacity to borrow. So they're going to use it against you. Some banks already have been using that strategy, like Wells Fargo has. In 2008, after the crash, Wells Fargo implemented the lending capacity. And so has, I think, Bank of America has implemented that too.
Absolutely. And I just want to comment on what Matt's guy had said in the comment section. He's absolutely, he's absolutely right. If we see a 5% 5-year fixed rate, that means that Mr. and Mrs. Smith now need to qualify at 7%, an additional 2% for the purposes of stress
testing. Yeah, that's right. Stress testing is becoming a problem for the average. And you know what the thing is, Steve? It's the Canadian proper that pays for this, eh? It's not the wealthy investors with deep pockets. It's the Canadian proper that wants to keep up with the wealthy investors.
Yeah, it's almost like a sickness.
Yeah.
So what they've ultimately done with this heat lock rule is they're really trying to tame speculation, because they know that there's going to be blood in the streets with respect to people being over-leveraged. They know speculation, especially within domestic speculators, not foreign.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking domestic speculators, has been absolutely insane. They know that the heat lock situation represents 13% of our GDP. The whole thing smells to high heaven, and it's a one-way crash course to the largest cement barrier on the face of this earth.
Yeah.
So what they're absolutely trying to do is curb speculation, because all that has to happen is Mr. and Mrs. Smith have a $500,000 heat lock on their house. Do you know if they remove $500,000 out of that heat lock and they put it in their actual bank account or another bank account, they go to another financial institution, okay? All that $500K only needs to be in their account for 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's no questions asked on where they got that money, that $500K, to go put down on an investment property.
Mm-hmm. But right now
they don't ask.
Yeah, but you know what? You know why they're not asking? Because they want your money, and they want to take the house to go with it when you can't pay it. I really, really strongly recommend, guys listening out there, I already put a few videos out there on my channel here. Guys, I really recommend, I put a few videos. Let me go to my, my playlists here. Hold on. Guys, you need to pay attention to this. It's very important. I even covered every single, right here. UK housing crisis, don't buy anything. Australian housing crisis, don't buy anything. New Zealand housing crisis, don't buy anything. And tonight, Canadian housing crisis, don't buy anything. Don't buy anything, guys. What do you recommend, Steve? Should people go out and buy like Kevin Thompson's telling them?
I think if people have...
Say that again?
Months, they are going to be in a position to to ultimately capitalize on some price declines. Now, we can't tell everybody, oh, don't go buy, because everybody needs a place to live.
Oh, no, I know. But if people are waiting on the sidelines for 5 years, what's the... There's nothing wrong with staying another 6 months to a year on the side.
Absolutely. If you're not in this game right now, and you are not holding real estate with respect to it being, as an asset class, do not buy anything. You are an absolute fool.
No.
Pay a little bit more rent if you have to. Do whatever you have to do. I would strongly advise, and I hate giving unsolicited advice. Do not buy anything for at least 3, more realistically 6 months or more, because you're going to start to see panic. We're starting to see it if you peel back the layers, but you're going to see mass panic set in by the end of Q1 and start of Q2, give or take. We're definitely going to see that, because we'll probably have seen 2 rate hikes.
You know what? I think
right now, do not buy.
You know what? I am going to be really frank with you. I think there's going to be quite a few more rate hikes, but the U.S. could weather these rate hikes because their housing crisis is a lot less. The pricing in housing in most U.S. cities is still in and around $200,000 to $260,000, so they could afford 5-6% on $100,000 is $6,000 a year. Where the average person that bought a $2 million bungalow is going to have to pay $120,000 a year on $2 million bungalow. So people are going to be a lot more pushed in Canada than they would be in the United States, because even our dollar has no value, which even makes it even worse on top.
Absolutely. Mike, do you know what our actual... for every dollar we make, I want to ask you something. For every dollar we make in Canada, what are we actually spending?
So you're talking about gross dollar?
So for every dollar we actually make,
you're talking about gross or
actually spend?
Like gross or take home? Like
no, in general.
How much do we spend? Oh, we spend it all. Most people spend everything they make.
Okay, so I'll put it this way: for every dollar we actually make, we're actually spending almost chalk it up to $1.80. You've heard that before, right?
Yes, I have.
Do you know what that looked like in the U.S. before the 2008 financial crisis?
It was out of control. It was mayhem.
Okay, so somebody in the comment section, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm almost positive that they were, for every dollar in the U.S., they spent $1.60, I believe.
No, I think it was $1.55.
Okay, $1.55. That's fine.
Yeah.
So, for argument's sake, we're way worse off than the U.S.
Oh. You have no idea.
Now, here's the kicker. In the 2008 financial crisis, what was the percentage that it took interest rates from the bank? What did it take for all hell to break loose?
I think it was 0.5%.
Okay, so and that correlates to how much percent were people paying on mortgages?
Right. Oh, or lending costs.
Right. It was 4%. 4% is what I've been told by a chief economist with one of the 5 big banks. I was in his house today. That's part of the reason why I'm late to the show. I stayed after for a few glasses of wine to pick his brain. And it was 4%. That's all it took for the U.S. to ultimately fall flat on its face. 4%.
Because I remember in 2007 they raised rates 0.5%, and then they raised rates another 0.5%. A quarter later, and then they raised it 1% a quarter later, and then it just got out of control with the raising rates.
That's right. So basically, it was 4% was the magic number. So I just told you that a 5-year fixed rate, the very best that I could get, and keep in mind, Mike, my my credit score is well north of 850. Okay? I have very, very good credit. I take it very seriously, and, you know, the bank knows what my credit is, and, you know, they said the best they could do is 3.74 for a 5-year fixed rate. Mike, all we need is one more rate hike, and we will get it, and we will hit that 4%.
It could be less. I mean, it could be even 0.25%. It could be even a little quarter, because a lot of people are already underwater, and a lot of people are looking to refinance right now. So if those people can't refinance with the stress testing, they're screwed, dude.
Well, it's not just the stress testing. It's also their debt. Now that the heat lock has changed, those rules have changed. So in essence, they're either not going to qualify for their mortgage renewal, or they're going to have to go ahead and pay off their heat lock in order for their actual total debt service ratio to fit. So as the credit cycle and the credit crunch continues to chomp away at Canadians, we're in for one rough ride.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Canadians, Australians, you know Australia still hasn't raised rates, Steve, at all?
Mike, Australia, I looked into it the other day. It is so far gone, it's not even funny.
No, I know.
They don't even have to raise rates. They're just waiting for it to just fall flat.
Well, with the amount of people leaving the major cities there and moving to smaller towns, it's phenomenal. The whole macro lending perspective of in Australia is just absolutely just crazy, and they're fooling themselves if they think they can't raise rates, and that their dollar is it's heading to hell. Their dollar will be in hell in the next quarter if they don't raise rates, and they're in a crisis right now without even raising rates.
You're absolutely right.
And I'm saying it's 1.5% cash rate.
Cash rate with respect to?
Interest rates in Australia.
1.5%. Now, is that the overnight lending rate?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's really low. It's like 1.5, and it hasn't moved. So it's historically low right now in Australia. I've been following Australia for years now, and it's the biggest powder keg in all the English-speaking world. I think once Australia goes, I think New Zealand's going to follow, and then I think the UK will follow, and then I think Canada will come last. And I'm talking about catastrophic goes. I'm not talking about a little bit of percentage this quarter, a little bit of percentage. I'm talking when the poop hits the fan for real, and everyone starts walking away from their properties and handing back their keys because there's no way they can make ends meet.
Yeah, I can see that happening. As it sits right now, I think it's important that people, as they start to read these articles, and you're going to see more and more articles show up. And Mike, if you go to BNN right now, okay, BNN Bloomberg, it actually is quite impressive how they've gone ahead, and the BOC has basically put out quite a few articles. Okay. Today, a big article was there. Bank of Canada finds dramatic fall in highly indebted borrowers.
Here we go. CEO Capital Flight in Canada's energy sector. Well, there's energy problems in Canada. Bank of Canada finds...
Go to real estate.
Here we go. I have it right here. Bank of Canada finds dramatic fall in highly indebted borrowers.
What's the next article?
Hold on. Let me click on real estate here so I can go into the actual... Big lenders resilient in housing crash test. Bank of Canada. Moving to Toronto suburbs rarely saves cash. Yeah, because the commutes, right? Then fires in California. These are the 10 world's most livable cities in Canada.
So if you look at the last 3 or 4 articles that have been, posted, so on and so forth, what this tells me, and if you peel back the layers, from the Bank of Canada finds dramatic fall in highly indebted borrowers, big lenders resilient in housing crash test. And then, basically, there's another one here. Stephen Poloz, the Bank of Canada governor, says markets showing welcome symptoms to normalization.
Mm-hmm.
All that tells me is they are preparing, and they are going ahead and putting out the propaganda, whatever they need to do, to sell these rate hikes, to sell it to the public, let them know that this is happening, it is going to happen, and it's going to be okay, which is hard to be okay, okay? I mean, finds a dramatic fall in highly indebted borrowers. Well, if you read the article, it's actually quite humorous.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking
the
here.
amount of indebted borrowers is fucking ridiculous, Mike. Excuse my language.
Yeah, no. I know it's people are severely over leveraged. I'm gonna get my man Alex DeLunis. I forget his name. DeLunis who does. Remember the guy I had on the show that does mortgages, does remote mortgages and goes and does signings for third and fourth mortgages.
Yes.
I'm gonna get him back on the show to give us a little insight as what's happening. So here it is: Montreal home sales rise 11% in October as hot streak continues. So Montreal looks like it's the last city on the Canadian map that's gonna see this before the crash. And then next one is Vancouver expects $30 million from its first year of empty homes tax. That's really good. They're taxing the empty homes. Paris did it, and you know how many homes went on the market the next day in Paris? They raised their vacant home tax to 60%, Steve.
Wow.
Yeah, I had the article up a few times. Paris raises rates to 60% vacant home tax.
Well, I was told that there could be a major announcement come January 1st with respect to a vacant home tax happening in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
And also, guess what OSFI may be doing between January 1st and February 1st?
What?
They will, when you go to the bank, when Mr. and Mrs. Smith go to the bank, their total debt service ratio, okay, you know how they use their gross income?
How?
Well, in order to qualify.
Well, they use the gross income.
They're using gross.
Yeah, but I don't know why they even use the gross income when that's not even your money.
Exactly. So OSFI is now trying to go ahead, and they will probably implement it for the purposes of whoever whatever banking institution is governed by OSFI. Okay, now private funds. They will now start to use net incomes when qualifying for mortgages.
Mm-hmm. Well, they have to. All these years in the lending institution, why would they use the gross income when it's not even your money?
I agree with you, but do you know what that's going to do to people's ability to qualify?
Oh, it's going to bring them down 3-4 notches because 40% is tax.
Mike, not good.
Well, a majority of it is tax. A majority of it, remember, it's 40%, dude. If you're making $100,000 a year and you're netting 65,000, guess what? That's what they're going to use on the stress test now.
Yes. Between the stress test, more than likely being 7% for the qualifying rate, interest rates going up, heat blocks now being classified and taken into consideration as fully maxed out when qualifying for renewals, whatever you want to call it, second properties. There's so many moving parts right now, and I'm a firm believer that the Bank of Canada and the government as a whole wholeheartedly wants to see this correction.
It's going to be very interesting.
But if they're not careful, Mike, the whole thing will go to shit.
Oh yeah,
we'll see a full-on crash.
Oh yeah, we're playing with fire right now, and they should have let this housing market crash like 3-4 years ago when it should have. There should have been a correction 3-4 years ago, but they just refused to let the markets go their own way. But they refused. Now you have an oversupply in Toronto. You have an oversupply of housing in Vancouver for sale. You have an oversupply in Sydney. You have an oversupply in New Zealand. You have an oversupply everywhere. And London, too. There's a huge oversupply in London. No one's buying homes. Everyone's fleeing. It's phenomenal. It's just a phenomenal design. It's so designed to make us fail that it's ridiculous. It's just so ridiculous.
I agree. I absolutely agree. The 905 right now is experiencing some very, very interesting things. And someone said it in the comment section where a lot of people are taking their houses off the market and hoping to list for bigger money in the spring.
Well,
and that is a direct... Sorry?
Well, this is what Mario DeSetti's told me, the same thing, an hour ago when he was on the phone with me. He told me the exact same thing. And you know what? We could forecast, we have a blueprint. Sydney, Australia. Right now it's spring in Sydney, and right now it's supposed to be a buyer and seller's market, and it's supposed to be great, and everyone's supposed to be selling, and people are supposed to be buying. Guess what's happening? No one's buying anything.
That's right. And people in the 905 right now in the greater Toronto area, I'm sure there are other markets. There's a big issue because organized real estate is actually instructing sellers that are frustrated that there's no action, whether it's an open house or there's no action, with respect to showings. And furthermore, why aren't they getting multiple offers? And organized real estate, if they're smart, go approach their seller and say, we need to do a price reduction. Oh, I'm not doing that. What are you talking about? My neighbor sold a year ago for this amount of money. There's no way the market's gone down that amount. We're going to lower it by $25,000. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, regrettably, that's not enough money. The market has changed. We can always take the house off the market, and we can put it back on the market in the springtime, and hopefully we get some more buyers.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to happen. Interest rates will have already gone up by the springtime. Probably twice, Mike. If not 3 times.
Yep. Well, we'll see what happens in the U.S. It's all based on what happens in the U.S. And if Canada wants a weak loonie, they're going to have to figure. In Australia, with not raising rates, you're going to see the Australian dollar take a good butt kicking come our springtime next quarter, Q1 of 2019. You're going to see a huge butt kicking in the Australian economy because of them not raising interest rates.
Yeah, their currency is gonna take a real shit kicking. And it's funny in the comment section. What is it here? Matt Guy said it perfectly. If nobody will qualify and China is out, then who will be able to buy these overpriced teardowns for $1 million?
Yep, that's yeah. It's 100%. Yeah, it's nobody. The Canadian proper can't do it. The Australian proper can't do it. The UK proper can't do it. They're all bought out. You know what I'm saying? The people living down in Jamaica can't do it. Jamaica's got completely bought out. Jamaica doesn't even own their highways. China owns all of Jamaica's highways.
Yeah, I heard that a while ago. That's really interesting. I'll share something with you, Mike.
Yeah?
I got a phone call yesterday evening from my landlord from China. He has offered me $10,000 to vacate the premise 3 months before my lease is up.
Okay.
He'd like to sell the property. He'd like to list the property. He knows he can't list the property properly with me in it for that fact, and he can only list it 60 days prior to the end of my lease.
Okay. So are you gonna take the 10 large?
I'm not sure, Mike. At this point, I need a place to go. I'm accountable for a young son now, and quite frankly, I have to really look at a couple of things. It's not like I can sleep at my shop and then just go to work. I can't couch surf. I can't go out to Merritt and
No, you don't need to sleep on the couch. I got a lot of bedrooms here.
Yeah. So he was very honest with me, and he said, the market's changed. I'm having a hard time getting money out of the country. Things are starting to get along in China, and he needs to sell the property.
Wow. So he's just probably going to sell it for what he could get it for, whatever he could get for it.
Well, my next move is to offer him $1.2 million less than what he gave it to. He bought it for me for.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one, man. That's a good one. Yeah. You know I have a tip jar here, Steve. You know that, right? I just want to... Hey, speaking of tip jar, I want to thank everyone that's been sending me tips on my tip jar. I really appreciate that, guys. It really means a lot. It really does mean a lot to me when I see a $5 tip, a $20 tip. Someone sent me the other day $100. I just want to thank everybody for that, because it actually feels like I'm being rewarded for something. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's great, Mike. I won't tip you in the tip jar. I will definitely take you out for a nice dinner.
Oh, I know.
And a couple of pops, and we'll live it up like we're multimillionaires.
Yes. Oh, for sure, for sure. I got an article here from Better Dwelling. Foreign buyers own $45.25 billion of Vancouver real estate.
Wow.
Foreign buyers own $45.25 billion worth of Vancouver real estate. Yep. I just kind of wanted to throw that out there just in case so you know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's City of Vancouver, 50% non-residents.
Mike, did you see CMHC's forecast for the next 2 years?
No, because I don't like what I don't believe CMHC sometimes.
Oh, it's actually quite humorous. It was on BNN Bloomberg again on November 6th. CMHC forecast housing moderation over the next 2 years.
Oh!
So my argument is,
I read that.
Whatever they say, multiply it by 10.
Yeah, I read that article. Yeah, I read that actually. I covered that on my channel a week and a half ago. Yeah. Okay, Steve, here's the question. How much in billions do foreign buyers own of Toronto real estate?
Oh, jeez. 5 billion.
37.37 billion.
Not even close. Love it.
Almost $40 billion owned by foreign ownership. And Toronto's first, Richmond Hill's second, Toronto CMA is third, Markham's fourth, Georgina, I don't know where that is fifth, Mississauga sixth, Oakville, yep. Oh, wow. It's phenomenal. Okay, non-residents living in Toronto, 62.2%.
Really?
Yeah, it's right here. 62.6%. Yeah. 23, I think that's $23,234,247,000.
Well, wait until the Trudeau government goes ahead and opens up the floodgates even more, thinking that mass amounts of immigration are going to fix all the problems.
You know what, Steve? I'm going to be really frank with you. I really want to make a hat, a red one, and I want it to look like Donald Trump's hat, and I want to call it MTATA. Make Trudeau a drama teacher again.
Mike, I would fully fund that hat.
I want to get a red hat and say, make Trudeau a drama teacher again. And see if it catches people's eyes and they think it's Make America Great Again, because they automatically, think it's racist, right? But when they read Make Trudeau a drama teacher again, I think that would be really nice.
I think that would be fantastic. Honestly, I think that would be great. I fully support that, and I think if you got 10,000 of them made, and you put them on the internet for your cost, just to do an experiment.
Yeah.
Your cost plus shipping. I bet you any money, within 48 hours of it going viral, you'd be sold out.
But it's got to be the red hat. It's got to match the Trump hat, but it's got to have the same font, the same white writing, and it's kind of look like Make America Great Again, but it's going to be Make Trudeau a drama teacher again.
Yep. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. You know, and you know what the funny thing is it's not like we could, that the problem is we just can't contact the guy and talk to him and ask him what the heck is going on. You know?
Well, it barely shows up for question period.
Yeah. So it's really hard to especially with these elected officials back in even before telephones were widely used, it was still easier to contact a member of parliament through correspondence and letter, and they actually took it serious. Now, I mean, even with a tweet or even an instant message, or even the technology we have, they've become harder and harder to contact.
That's pretty bad.
So, hey, I got a question. Steve, what do you want to do for Saturday's show? Are you going to be on Saturday's show? Are you going to be busy, or what?
I will be on Saturday's show. We're actually going to look at some houses in Kitchener, believe it or not. Kitchener, Waterloo.
Can you film them and throw them up on the YouTube, or put them on your regular YouTube channel, and then I'll play it on my channel?
I think I could probably do that.
Oh, it's not that hard. You go to the Steve the Plumber, like the one you're messaging on here. You go to Steve the Plumber on YouTube, and then on the top right side, you're going to see upload. Just upload a video to it, and that's it. And then I'll go to the channel, okay, like I'm doing right now. Look, I'll open your channel right now. Open, where is it? Open in new window. It's supposed to open a new window. Anyways, it's supposed to open a new window. Then I go to it, and then, here it goes. Go to channel. So your channel looks like this when I go to it. There's nothing. It's got 4 subscribers, right? All you do is just upload to it. That's it. And then I can play it off here.
Fantastic.
That's it. And I could play exactly what you uploaded that day in Kitchener. We could talk about it and show the housing and what's going on, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'll seriously consider doing that. 4 subscribers. Wow. I don't even have any content, and people are subscribing to me. That's actually quite funny.
Yeah, it is. That's actually very good. That's very, very, very good. Speaking of 4 subscribers, guys, I need you to plug my channel here. Guys, I need you to all subscribe to the Handheld Junkie. It's my video game channel. I don't have a lot of subscribers. I think I got 7 or 10 subscribers on there. I need more subs so people can start taking the channel more seriously. I do work hard doing my video game reviews. So please subscribe to this channel, guys, if you can. I really appreciate it. It's just video game reviews, but I really do a good job editing and actually scripting this and you know, making something out of it. In case they close my main channel down, people won't miss me altogether. They'll actually see something that's you know, not hurting anyone's feelings.
I will definitely subscribe, Mike.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Wanted to let you know that Ivan has resurfaced.
Oh, Ivan the Terrible! Is he buying more condos up?
Oh, he was on my case, that's for sure. I think it was either on Steve Soretsky's video or it was Steve Soretsky's video. The one that he was describing heat blocks and whatnot. You should actually check that out.
I actually saw that about how it's you actually told me this.
Yeah, it's actually quite funny. He's a tool, that's for sure.
Yeah, but and see, at least Kevin Thompson understands what's going on. So,
and Kevin Thompson's pretty quiet tonight.
Yeah, Kevin Thompson is pretty quiet tonight. He hasn't been in the comments. Peter Otizinger is in the comments, says He came back from the doctor. If he, yeah, let's get Peter on the phone real quick here, Steve, and
yeah, I'll let you go.
Let's see what he has to say. We'll keep in touch, and I'll have you on the show on Saturday. Okay?
Absolutely. Thanks, Mike. So good to be with you.
Okay.
We'll talk soon. Take care.
God bless you. Bye. Okay, guys. So that's where's Peter? I hope Kevin Thompson's okay. Hope he's doing okay.